Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? Thank you all for joining me here tonight. And I want to say thank you to all of you that keep coming back week after week for the live stream. And for those of you who are new to the live stream, welcome. And I want to say a special thank you to Rob at Curmudgeon Inn for moderating the chat again tonight. And also, I want to say thank you to our Bucket List Has Holes for becoming a new channel member tonight. I really appreciate that. Like, that means a lot to me that you're willing to become a channel member. So for those of you who are not familiar with my membership page, you can join at any level. All the benefits are the same regardless of what you join at. And you get a sneak peek to my weekly vlog 1 to 2 days in advance, and you get priority response to your comments. And going forward, I'll be adding some additional perks that are exclusive just for the members only. So those are coming. I'll announce those in a future video. But right now, I want to say thank you to everyone who is here tonight. And I'm going to start going down the list like I normally do. So first off, thank you, Heather. You were here really early. I appreciate that. And happy Easter to you too. And hello, Lisa. Thank you for the compliment on the channel. I really appreciate that. And Rob, of course. This is Rob at Curmudgeon Inn, who is our moderator tonight. And hello, Donna. How are you doing tonight? I'm glad Easter was good for you. And hello, Ashley. Ashley has been with the channel for a very long time, and well, from the beginning, really. And I really appreciate you, Ashley. And Rob is bouncing back and forth between two lives. I'm not sure if you're still on the other live or not, but he is also on a live with R.A. Salvatore, one of his favorite authors. Hello, Clint. How are you doing this evening? Thank you for being here again tonight. Fantasy and sci-fi. That sounds pretty interesting. Hello, Pam. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for joining us tonight. And thank you, Ashley, for reminding everyone to hit that like button. I really appreciate it. Hello, RM. Thank you for joining. And our bucket list has holes in it, as I just mentioned. Thank you again. Well, I'm very glad you're here. I'm glad that this is where you choose to be. Hello, Billy Bob. How are you doing tonight? And Jerry Kirk, I am so glad to see you in the chat again this evening. Hello, Dogman. How are you doing tonight? How are the puppies? Doing good, I hope. Billy Bob says, what do you mean this bunch is the best and the nicest on the internet? I agree. I agree. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate each and every one of you. You guys mean a lot to me. Dogman says he's grabbing his popcorn and he's ready. And Dogman says, smash the liver out of that like button. Thank you very much for saying that, Dogman. I appreciate it. Hello, Chris. How are you doing tonight? I love you too, bucket holes. That sounds horrible, right? Our bucket list has holes, bucket holes. My bucket has holes in it, that's for sure. Oh my goodness, that being this bucket up here. Oh my goodness. Hello, Carol. How are you doing tonight? I'm so glad you liked the last video. I'm very happy to have gotten, sorry for going off camera here for a second. I'm trying to grab the box. So some of you have asked what the new camera equipment is that I have, and it's a Hohem iSteady M6 is what the gimbal tracker that I was using in the last video is. So for those of you that are interested, and I'll make sure to leave a link to that in the description of that video and the next video as well for anybody who's interested. Billy Bob says, bless your little old heart, Rob. It is a rough job. Glad you're willing to do it. Yeah, you guys are such a rough crowd on there, you know, so much moderating to do. I really appreciate him, though, and I appreciate Dewey when she's available to moderate, and also Bill from Alaska's Last Frontier Homestead. It's very kind of them to offer their time to help moderate the chat. Oh, and Rob saying there is the link to my channel itself. So thank you for doing that, Rob. Hello, AK Homegrown Roots. How are you doing tonight? And says, she had a happy Easter and big hugs to you too. I appreciate you being here. And Terry, hello. How are you doing tonight? Seashell, thank you for joining again. And Big T, thank you for being here. Rob says he is finally off the other live stream, so his full attention is here. Thank you for that, Rob. I appreciate it. I'm glad you were able to join the other live stream, though. Hello, Lost Mom Outdoors. How are you doing tonight? Yeah, it's very nice that you could be here from the beginning. And remember, for everybody who joins in late, or if you're watching this on the replay, that's because I make them available for everyone to watch after the fact as well. So thank you, everyone, whether you're here now or later. I appreciate you all. Hello, Beverly. How are you doing tonight? She says it's hot in Vitas, Florida, but we got our first rain in 3 months. And happy Easter. Rain would be nice after 3 months of no precipitation. I bet you it'll help green everything up nicely down there. You're welcome, Ashley. Like I said, I appreciate you sticking with me through all of it. And Long Tall Texan, how are you doing tonight? And Long Tall Texan says, how do you always look so breathtakingly beautiful? I'm going to turn bright red here in a moment. And good evening to you also, Long Tall Texan. And I would say it's an ancient Irish secret. Actually, I have no beauty secrets. Sorry. It's just the camera must do a wonderful job. Hello, I'm going to do it again, Dave. Hello, Dave. Now what you're going to be like, it's not Dave, it's Doug, but hello, Dave. I'm glad you made it from the start as well. Hello, Sarah. How are you? I'm glad you could be here with Rob tonight. Hello, Lori. Nice of you to join me. And Nomi, my homie, how are you doing tonight? And Mitzi, nice of you to join. And I'm glad you were able to join the live. Dogman says the pups are on an energy drug. Bet they're keeping you on your toes. Hello, Tara. How are you doing? Nice of you to join everyone here tonight. Hello, Mikey. How are you doing? Mikey says, great to see you. Wife and I just got done watching your chores video. Well, I hope that you enjoyed it, and I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you being a channel member also. I appreciate it. RM says, how's the breakup going down your end of the road? Got snowed on again here. Same. It was snowing even as of this morning. And though I went out earlier today and I was able to actually see some ground underneath where they had plowed. So spring is on its way. The rivers are starting to break up just a little bit, but for the most part, everything is still frozen here. I still have feet and feet of snow. The road has feet and feet of snow piled up on the sides. So lots of snow still. And I think I'm supposed to get some more snow before the end of this week happens. So hello, Smiley. Nice of you to be here tonight. And welcome here for your first time on the live. I'm glad to have you here. Yeah, RM says no mud yet, but it's coming. It is definitely coming. Things are getting a little slushy for sure. Chris says, time for a break from packing. Moving sucks when it's not to a cabin in the middle of nowhere. Sorry to hear that you're not moving into a nice, dreamy cabin someplace, but I agree with you. Moving is never fun, that's for sure. Hello, Steve. How are you doing? I wish Dewey was here tonight too, but she is still working late these days, so maybe one of these days she'll be able to join again. But I'm glad you're here nonetheless. And Sylvia, thank you for joining. She says, rainy and foggy here. Glad spring is on the way. Yep, me too. I love the snow, but I'm ready to get busy in the garden and I'm ready to go fishing. And Big T over at Rustic Log Cabin Life is asking how the job is going or if I have a new job. No new job yet. I decided to pass on the job that had been offered to me because it really was more than I knew how to do. And yes, I could probably learn it, but it was stuff that I'm not really comfortable with. It had a lot of legalities involved with the position, legal terminology that you didn't know, and a lot of negotiating skills. And I'm not a negotiator. I to me, it's just like, oh, you're going to sell that for $8 a pound? Okay. But I'm not very good at saying, I'll buy it for $6 a pound at this many pounds at this, annual rate and what have you. I just tell me how many pounds you got and I'll inventory it. That's my job. That's the thing that I like to do. So we'll see. Hopefully I get just the right fit. But like I said, taking my time, making sure that it's the right job for me. So, and Rob says it's her monkeys, but right now it's my circus. Oh my goodness. Hello, Lonnie. How are you doing from Maryland? I'm glad you could join us tonight. Nomi, or Ashley says, Nomi, I had to mow grass for the first time this year. Yuck. Oh my goodness. I don't miss mowing the lawn. That's for sure. Hello, my Dixie Rect. How are you doing tonight? And Denise Glimmer, how are you doing? And Piper O'Neill, how are you doing tonight? Says, I'm in the house. How are you? I'm doing fine. How are the mice? The mice are gone, and I hope they stay gone. I haven't seen another one for many, many months now. So whatever I did in the fall seemed to have worked. I did figure out where they were coming into the cabin, though. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to do much about it, but it's been so cold out and so much snow that area is buried, so they can't really get in there. But here in a couple of weeks, I will be remedying that, and I will show it on a video about where they were coming in and what my plans are to solve them from coming back next year. And hello, Dennis. How are you doing tonight? Dennis says, I never thought watching you do laundry would be so interesting, right? I actually worry about making laundry videos because I can't imagine that it'd be very entertaining. So I appreciate everybody who watched, and that video, believe it or not, has good retention. So that's a good thing. Hello, Jackets Brackets. How are you doing tonight? Nomi says he feels Ashley's pain with mowing the lawn. And Rob says, love Vise, Florida. I know that I said that incorrectly. So I was assuming that it said Venice, but I could be incorrect. And maybe Rob has it correctly. And Dave says, it's half price candy day, the only great holiday, right? That and the day after Halloween, when you get half price Halloween candy. I think those are two of the best. And Donna says, Washington State is where she's from. Awesome, awesome. Hello, Becky. How are you doing? She says, first live I've been able to watch. Well, I'm happy to have you here, and thank you for joining all of us tonight. And Piper says, what time is it here? It is 5:12 in the evening. What time is it where you're at, Piper? That way it'll help me know where everybody's coming from. Donna says she's happy as a clam. Me too. Noam says, laughing at my ancient Irish secret. Oh my goodness. I almost said Chinese secret, but I'm definitely not Chinese. So, hi, Vanessa. How are you doing from Sarasota, Florida? Thank you for being here. And Ira, thank you for coming back to join the chat again tonight. Appreciate that. Nomstead says, I am fine as Frog's hair split 3 ways with a double-headed axe. Ooh, that does not sound pleasant. I hope you're doing better than that sounds, Nomi. Hello, Bill. How are you doing? And Bill is also one of my channel members. Appreciate you, Bill. Bill says, hello, alone from Tally Girl and me here on the Pungo Prairie. I sure do pray you get some more spring-like weather soon. Geez, long winters up there. Hope you can get your garden in. I hope the garden gets in too. It is sunny outside right now, and if you hear a little rustling in the background, it's because I've actually opened up the window just behind the monitor here, and I have a paper shade over it to kind of filter or diffuse some of that sunlight coming in so I'm not so blown out on camera, but that breeze is rustling that paper. So I apologize if the microphone is picking up that noise, and hopefully everybody can hear me well tonight. I am, thanks to JR, who is also one of my channel members and a technical guru. He was able to help me troubleshoot some of the issues that I was having with the last live stream sound. For one thing is now I'm hardwired in as opposed to being on the Wi-Fi, and I am using my external mic as well as the webcam, but I have a new webcam and a new external mic coming, which will hopefully keep the sound from cutting in and out like it was doing on the last one. And Rob is actually saying, sorry, I had a connection issue for Sarah. It's now fixed. You have all of my attention. Thanks again, Rob. Even if you have to go in and out, I really appreciate you nonetheless. And Dennis says, let's work on making her blush tonight. Bet you can't guess what I'm doing. Oh my goodness. I'm afraid to ask what you're doing, Dennis. Hello, Two Bears. How are you doing, my friend? Glad to see you here tonight. And Two Bears is also somebody who's been following the channel from the very beginning, and I really appreciate that. And Rob says, it's been snowing all day. Weather said a foot due to hit tomorrow. So when I drove down the driveway this afternoon, it looked like I had about 6 inches that has fallen over the last few days. And I'm not exactly sure how much more snow I'm supposed to get. I'm pulling up the weather app here right now. It's actually not calling for much snow over the next couple days. So hopefully it'll be good and I won't see a whole lot. But you never know. It just happens to, weather has a mind of its own. Let's put it that way. And Ashley says, that's what I call a close shave. That does sound like a close shave. A little too close for comfort, if you ask me. And Steve's Woodworking and Homestead says, bought well parts today. Oh my goodness. You're doing a sandpoint well. That's what I'm trying to think of. Is that correct, Steve? I believe that's what you said you were doing, was a sandpoint well. And Donna says, every time I see your beautiful colors on the shelves, I may paint mine now. Yeah, the kitchen is really brightened up since I painted it that color. And I wish I had the paint chip so I could tell everybody what the color was. It's cinnamon something from Valspar. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I didn't pick up the paint chip again after the lady at the store was doing the mixing. So I'll see if I can look it up online and I'll post it in an upcoming video. Hello, Kate. How are you doing? Kate has also been with the channel for a very long time, and I appreciate you being here tonight, Kate. It means a lot to me. Hello, Thomas. How are you doing tonight? Thomas says, springtime is here in Arkansas. It was nice and warm today. That sounds fantastic. When I was outside earlier, the sun felt really, really warm. This morning, though, it was absolutely freezing. It was only about 20 degrees, but it felt a lot colder than that this morning. And Clint says he's got to go for a minute, got to get a jacket. It dropped to 65 degrees at the moment. Clint's probably freezing there in Texas at 65 degrees. Oh my goodness, I'd be melting. Ira says, my 93-year-old mom, Lorraine, who lives with me, is so intrigued by you. She is watching you now. Oh, well, that's fantastic. Tell her I said thank you, Ira. I really appreciate it. And Noam says at 65, he is shedding clothes. Yep, it's definitely not time to be layering up at 65. And Dave says, it got up to 75 here and it's 69 now at 7 p.m. 69, wow, that's still a bit warm, isn't it? 75, I would be drenched, to say the least. Would not be a pretty picture. Steve says, oh, he's talking to Mikey, and he says, wow, what a suck up. Hey, brother. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that live, but they're two close buddies. And Steve has a live stream on Saturday nights that you're all welcome to check out. And Mikey happens to be one of his special guests on that live stream as well. So you can see both of these wonderful characters over there on Steve's live stream. Dogman says, I just finished up the garden today. Matters planted. Maters. Sorry, I misread that. And there is Bill Dixon's channel link for everybody. Bill Dixon over at the Pungo Prairie. Thank you, Rob, for doing that. And Steve's Woodworking, who I was just mentioning with Mikey DeLuca for their live stream. There is his channel link. Ira says, happy Easter. We celebrated Passover with many matzah dishes. I know that I almost mispronounced that. I wanted to say something else, and I'm so glad it came out correctly. All I could think about was the matzo balls that you see in the grocery store. I apologize, but I was like, don't say that word after, because that's not what he wrote on the screen, or she wrote on the screen. Sorry about that, Ira. And She-Cell says, it was 85 here in Southern California earlier today. First time running the AC this year. Yeah, it won't be long and many of us will be doing the same thing. And Clint says he prefers the hot weather. That's why he lives in Texas. And there is Nomstead's channel link for everybody. Thank you, Rob. Hello, Marion. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for joining again. And Piper says real estate license. I know. I just, again, more legalities. I don't want to be involved with anything where I got to worry about legal mumble jumbo and remember rules and regulations and things like that. I want a very simple, maybe I'm asking for too much, saying I want a very simple job. Mitzi says it has stopped snowing. Has it stopped snowing up there yet? No. Well, for today, yes, but it was still snowing as of this morning. So, hello, Race in Alaska. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for being here again. And he says, it is good to know your own strengths and weaknesses and work on finding a job that fits your positive attributes. Right? I agree. I am so worried when I do work for somebody else. I'm so worried about messing up that I become almost neurotic, if you will. And so it's like, I'd rather not fall into those neurotic tendencies and just have a job that I feel comfortable doing it without going, am I doing this right? I don't know what I'm doing. Hello, Terry. How are you doing from Canada? I know I should know what the NB stands for, but right now my brain is not quite there. Hello, Brun. How are you doing tonight? Good to see you again as well. And I am doing just fine. I hope you are also. Thank you for asking. Nomstead also says, yes, be right back. He says his children are barking at the door. And there is Big T's channel link for everybody over at Rustic Log Cabin Life. Thank you, Rob. Donna says, cold on the coast side of Washington State. And yes, Irish for sure here. Top of the mountain to you too. Top of the morning. I am not with it tonight. Oh my goodness. I should have probably eaten lunch. Then maybe I wouldn't actually be messing up so many things I'm reading on the screen tonight. Oh my goodness. RM says, I injured my back, my injured back says mowing the lawn would be a bit more okay than shoveling a driveway full of snow. Yeah, shoveling can be quite hard on the back for sure. Hello, Panhandle. How are you doing tonight? And Kelly, nice of you to join. I'm glad that you love the recipe for the detergent. I am very happy that I was able to pass it along to everybody again. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to ask. I am more than happy to answer. Rob says, I spelled it wrong. Venice, Florida. I had my tea and her spice company there. Had my tea, herb, and spice company there. That's awesome. And Mike G says, still no cheese left on the moon. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's not good. No cheese on the moon. And Steve says 9:13 where he's at. He is 4 hours ahead of me this evening. Well, every evening, to be honest. And Dogman says 8:13. So he's a little further inland than Steve is. And 8:13 for Lost Mom as well. And RM says, very much appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to be here with me. It means a lot to me that you join. Oh, no, there's that coughing fit again. Hello, Torben. How are you doing from Norway? Thank you for joining tonight. I appreciate that. And Piper says it's 9:12 where they're located. So a little further east. And Becky says from Illinois, it is 8:13 p.m. here. And there is Rob's channel link over at Curmudgeon Inn for everyone. Please go over there and say hello to him and give his channel a check out, would you please? And Piper is in Florida. Linda Jones says, hi from Wisconsin. We will hit 70 degrees this week. Well, you guys are warming up quickly, that's for sure. Chris says, another Maryland denizen in the house. Time to get out this anti-2A progressive dystopia. I agree. Let's bring 2A to the forefront and get everyone armed and carrying and protecting themselves, especially from a tyrannical government. I agree. Absolutely. And Marion says she's from Alberta, Canada. Nice of you to be here again, Marion. I know I said hello to you earlier, but welcome again nonetheless. And Rob says, hello to any I missed. Thank you, Rob. Robin, hello. How are you doing tonight? From the North Georgia mountains. Nice of you to be here, Robin. And Christine Cole, hello, hello. And Hubert Hubbard, how are you doing tonight? Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. AK Homegrown Root says, I've been gardening like a crazy woman. Lol. I want to start for sure. All my seedlings are coming up nicely, as I showed in the last video. Except for the onions and the leeks, they're not quite doing so well. So I have a feeling that I might be buying those at a garden center this year, and trying my hand at them again next year. Sarah says, I've got styrofoam cups full of sprouting veggies and still 5 feet of snow. Yep. And you guys are supposed to get even more snow. It's going to take a while for all that snow to melt where you guys are at, for sure. But I'm as anxious as you probably are to get things in the ground, for sure. Hello, Kevin. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for being here again. I appreciate it. Kevin says, hazy sun and about 72 degrees in the Chicago area. Oh my, 72 in Chicago. Is it humid there, Kevin? I would imagine that it probably is, being right there close to the Great Lakes. And there is Bill, my other moderator from Alaska's Last Frontier Homestead. Thank you for being here. He says he's here, but he's making his bed. Oh my goodness, he's multitasking. Clint says, still have only gotten 0 inches of snow here. I don't know how you're dealing with all that snow, Clint. That's just too much. And Hubert says, I love your vids, watch all the time. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate anybody who watches, and especially when I find out that you're watching them all. That really means a lot to me. I appreciate it. And Bill says, hello to Rob over at Curmudgeon Inn. And Christine says, have you gone ice fishing? I've been too busy to watch YouTube lately. I would love to go to Lake Louise someday. I would love to go to Lake Louise someday too. I wanted to go up there last summer and check it out, and I never got the opportunity to. And I have not had the opportunity to go ice fishing yet, but I have a feeling that next winter I am going to definitely try to get some ice fishing in. And I am itching to get on the water as it is right now. Ira says, I cannot wait to see you in your garden. I was planting tomatoes and eggplants. It's my sanctuary. I agree. I always love to be out in the garden because the plants never talk back to me. And it was always so peaceful and quiet, and a great way to just kind of release some thoughts and get your hands dirty. I absolutely love it. And Marion says it's 7:17 where she's at. Hello, Dees Swatel. How are you doing? Keep smiling. Thank you. I will. You do the same, and I hope you're having a great day. Hello, Christina, Okla, Ohio. How are you doing? She says, it is good to see you, beautiful alone. Hello. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you being here again tonight. And Steve over at Woodworking and Homestead says, I would say yes to Sandpoint Well, but it won't get to you for 20 minutes and then be out of context. Oh, yes, I know. I'm way behind. Hello, Autumn. How are you doing? Autumn is coming to us tonight from Puerto Rico. Thank you for joining. And Rosemary, how are you doing tonight? I am doing well, and I appreciate you being here. And Jerry Kirk says it's 6:18, so Jerry must be closer to the Pacific coast. And Two Bears says, on a good note, spring has sprung here. It seems, knock on wood. Well, that is good, Two Bears. I am glad that you are finally seeing some relief from the snow and the cold. Mitzi is asking, how is Kenai? Kenai is doing just fine. He is on the floor behind me snoring. Let's see if I can point the camera down. See him right there? He's telewagging. He knows that he's being spied upon. Oh my goodness. One of these days, I'm going to get a camera and set it on the floor so we have Kenai cam during the live stream. And Autumn says, if it drops below 70 here in Puerto Rico, I have to bundle up. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think what the coldest has been that I've been outside where it's like, okay, I definitely need to have a jacket and a coat on. But most days, even when it's like close to 0 degrees outside, I'm still running outside, either with just a light sweater on or, whatever I have on at the moment, but not necessarily bundling up in a coat and a jacket. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just crazy. And hello, Living in the Forest. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for being here. It says cold and atmospheric river here on the Oregon coast. Oh, that's nice, though. I bet it's beautiful nonetheless. And our bucket list has whole says, it's 51 here in Michigan. We are on a warm streak. 51 is about the highest, I think, that I ever want to see it here. That's at 51, I'm melting. Hello, John in Alaska. How are you doing tonight, my friend? I'm glad you're here. John says, I just came in from moving snow and a bunch of geese just flew overhead. Is it spring? It must be. There was a goose that flew over here maybe a week and a half ago, and it was the first goose I've seen since being in Alaska, and I was kind of surprised by it because like I said, hadn't seen any in the year and a half that I'd been here. And so I actually was wondering if we even had Canadian geese that would come over Alaska. So maybe it is springtime after all. And there is Bill at Alaska's Last Frontier channel link for everybody who's interested. And Bill is also one of my moderators. So thank him tonight for helping out. I appreciate it. Long Tall Texan says, anything beyond 2 cans and some string is above my pay grade. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, lol. Yeah, it was definitely broke. Last week, nobody could hardly hear me. So hopefully the sound is much better tonight. Oh, Steve is saying that Mikey is not a special guest. Or maybe he's saying it in a different way. I'm not sure. I'll let Mikey and Steve be the judge of that. Ira says, I loved your recipe for the Korean pancakes. Oh, well, thank you. That is definitely one of the, when you have fresh veggies on hand, especially zucchini and some carrot, and if you have some radish, you can throw in there some scallions. Very easy to make and very, very tasty. It's very satisfying. And there is John in Alaska's channel link. Thank you, Rob, for throwing that up on the screen. Hello, Treasure. How are you doing tonight? Treasure says, hey, y'all, hope all is well. That's too many sound-alike words right in there. Sorry about that. It was a beautiful day in Pennsylvania. Glad to hear it. AK Homegrown Root says 78.2. My hubby built an indoor greenhouse for me. Woohoo! That's nice. I want an indoor greenhouse, or at least a lean-to. That would be very nice. And there you go, living in the forest. And there is Raised in Alaska's channel link for everybody. And AK Homegrown Root says, I have lemon trees and lime trees right now with fruit. That's fantastic. That's really nice. New Brunswick. Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you. That's what the NB stood for. And again, my brain just was not going there. So I really appreciate it. And Dennis says, it was 77 inside and 13 degrees outside when I went to bed last night. 68 inside, 15 outside when I went to work at 7. I just got home and it's 54 inside and 20 above outside in Delta Junction. Fire. Yeah, I think the temperature here this morning was 0 degrees. And right now it's saying it's about 30 degrees outside. So it's incredibly warm right now. And Rob says, Alone, that was the title to one of my last videos. You're going to have to add a little reference there. I'm not sure. And Big T says, miss that the price of beeswax is now a lot more than I previously have bought it for, but I will melt the rest of this wax this summer for myself and gifts for others. So Big T is a candle maker, and that's why he's referencing the beeswax and everything. He had sent me some candles of some Christmas trees that he had previously made. They're really, really adorable. So anybody who's interested, check out Big T and see what he's up to, and maybe you can help him out by purchasing one of his candles. If he's selling them, that is. I don't want to put you on the spot there, Big T. So if I just did, just tell me. No, not for sale. But nonetheless, go check out his channel nonetheless. And Bill Dixon says, Alone, you should never worry about being your own self-confident self in any employment you undertake. And any employer would be blessed to have you on their team. Seriously. Well, thank you very much, Bill. I appreciate that. And Rob is saying he can't spell correctly tonight. That's okay. I'm not reading correctly. So you're in good company, Rob. Hello, Mrs. Smith. How are you doing tonight? Mrs. Smith has a blog that I promote at the end of each one of my videos, along with Big T's Gazette I promote. And I also promote Gnomestead's I'm going to call it a university, even though that's not really what it is. But Gnomestead has, he teaches some homesteading skills and some foraging skills and things like that. that I promote all of those at the end of each one of my videos as well. So be sure to check them out. And hello again, Miss Smith. I'm glad you're here tonight. And Bill is saying it's 5:23 where he's at here in Alaska. Oh my goodness. Steve says, wait, what? That was a recipe for detergent? I made pancakes out of it. I bet they were gritty and tasted delicious. And Connie says it's 5:20ish where she's at. Thank you for joining tonight, Connie. Welcome, welcome. I appreciate being here. Misty Mountain 1967 says hello to everyone from West Virginia. Thank you for being here tonight, Misty Mountain. I appreciate that. Ira says, I think it's ironic that you call yourself alone when you look at what a fan club of friends you have here. Well, thank you for that. I never feel alone when I'm talking to you guys, that's for sure. I really appreciate each and every one of you being here. Pam says, typically, when does all of your snow melt? It'll start melting by the end of April, but then there will still be snow on the ground, at least in my area, until at least June sometime. The first or second week of June, there will still be snow in some spots. But we should start seeing melt here in the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. Hello, Linda. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for being here. And Steve, hello, how are you doing? Stephen Rich says, just got here, but hello alone, love your show. I'm from New York and I can't wait till I can move there. Well, come on over. Alaska's always happy to have you, especially if you can handle the cold and the snow and everything that Alaska has to offer. Come on over. It's awesome here. And hello, Julie, how are you doing tonight? Julie is from St. Louis and says it'll be 80 degrees this week. Woohoo! Do you ever get lonely, like for your family and companionship? I do not really get lonely. I keep myself pretty occupied, pretty busy. I don't really miss having people around me all the time. And the fact that I get to talk to all of you on here and the fact that I get to converse with you guys in the comments and things like that. It keeps me from really getting lonely. I feel like I still have an outlet. I talk to my family all the time. And so this summer, my mom and my daughter might come up, and one of my sons might come up. The other one, I'm trying to convince, maybe someday he'll come up. But so I'll have family visiting this summer. Maybe I'll have a couple friends up from the lower 48 as well this summer. They've been talking about it. But as far as like on a day-to-day basis, not really. I don't really get lonely. And Kenite keeps me a lot of company too, to be honest. And Lost Mom says, it's been hazy every time the sky has been blue this year. It's very strange. That does seem strange. Very odd. Makes me wonder what's going on in your area, that you're not really getting true blue skies out there. And Ashley says, Alone, what was your single best source for info regarding the move to Alaska? Honestly, I would say the single best source that I had, I hate to say it this way because it's pretty broad, but really was the internet. And when I was researching moving to Alaska, I was looking at everything from the state land sales and land auctions to Zillow, which is, how I found my property. But I was also looking at remoteproperties.com. I was looking at different topographical maps and map services provided by the government, and using all of those things and compiling all the information that I had. I actually had produced, and I thought about publishing it, maybe selling it, but I had produced a giant Gantt chart that had everything on it, from the nearest hospital to the nearest police department, the crime rate, the water tables, the flow rates of the water on average from the local wells, how many wells were in the area, so on and so forth. All of this information. And the only reason I didn't publish it was because I figured by the time I got done, it would be outdated. And I wasn't going to go back in and redo it, because there were over 200 different locations or towns within Alaska that I had compiled all this information on. So it was quite broad, but the internet, in short. I'm sorry, I get long-winded. I would say do your research, throw a dart at the map, find the area that you're most interested in, and then just start researching everything in that area. Just do a Google search for that town and everything around it that you can find. And you might be surprised that an area you thought you wanted to move into, when you really do your research, you find out it's not someplace you want to be, or you might find an area that you've never heard of before, and it might be the perfect place. So, hello, Jay Delaney. How are you doing? And oh my goodness, I dropped the straws, and I will have to pick them back up and pull those straws and let you know. I'll keep you posted, Jay. Keep you posted between you and Dennis and Mr. the Giant Puppy. And I'm sure there's some others out there that their names are, on those straws, but I'll keep you posted. Thanks for asking again, though. And Rob says, alone, Adam did some ice fishing there. Nice. So Adam is Adam, who is one half of Adam and Phyllis from Alaska Cut the Cord. So he's talking about up at Lake Louise. And be sure to check out their channel. I'm sure Rob will throw their link up there on the screen for everybody. And hello, Linda. How are you doing tonight? Linda says, our ice just went out Easter Day. Great to see lake water again. That's fantastic, Linda. I'm so happy for you. Hello, Rita. How are you doing? Nice of you to be here. And AK Homegrown Root says, I agree too. Gardening is 100% my zen. Yes, it's definitely mine for sure. And Rob says there is, Rob has thrown up Gnomestead's off-grid or Alaska Off-Grid's channel link for everybody. Be sure to check him out. And Christine says, I've heard that gardening is a good way to ground yourself. Yes, I agree. I'm always walking outside barefoot. So not only will it ground you mentally, but it'll help connect you to the earth. And I think there's a lot to be said for getting your hands dirty and your feet dirty and connecting directly to the soil, whether it's, all, what's that word, a placebo effect, or it's reality. Being in touch with the earth, I think, does a lot, at least for my body and soul. I have found that it keeps my spirits high. Hello, Norm. How are you doing from Henrico County, Virginia? I'm glad you're here again tonight. And there is Bill's channel link for everybody over at Alaska's Last Frontier Homestead. Kevin says, come on, folks, 143 watching, but only 59 likes. What gives everyone? Hit that like button. Thank you. Thank you very much for doing that, Kevin. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody who's given a like so far. And Rob says, I'm pretty good down to about 0 degrees before he has to start bundling up. For me, I will tell you the coldest temperatures here are between 10 below and 10 above. If it's below 10 below, it's actually really comfortable as long as there's no wind. And anything above 10, above 0 is really comfortable as well. At about 45, I think it's too warm outside, and anything above 55 on the inside of the cabin, I think is too much. But I think the reason that the 10 below and 10 above is not my favorite is because the humidity is generally up in those ranges. And Bill says, you can get a GoPro harness for Kenai, then you can put a GoPro on him. Yeah, I actually have a harness that I could attach to him. But I know a lot of people want to see Kenai himself, so I just need to get a little camera that sits right in front of himself. Hello, Steve. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Ira says, what's the odds of there being Ira on this channel? I've only met 2 in 67 years. So this is a different Ira Harold, and the other one who is way up here someplace. Ira, I'm going to find your name up here somewhere, is Ira Handworker. So yeah, the chances of both of you being here is quite funny, actually. And now I lost my place here. Sorry about that, folks. Let's see here. There we go. There's Ira's thing. Thank you for being here tonight, Ira. Appreciate it. And Mona Hardy, how are you doing? I appreciate you being here. It says, how's the job search going? Wishing you well. Thank you. Thank you. I'm still taking my time, and hopefully the right job will come along soon. And Steve over at Steve's Woodworking and Homestead is in Michigan. And Dennis says, I still can't get my nasturtiums up. Dennis, you might, in future years, you might need to just nick the outer shell of that nasturtium seed. They have a pretty rough seed, but also they do take a while to pop up. they might also need, a little encouragement from some heat or sun lamps. And there is Mr. the Giant Puppy. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for being here. And he says, first time I've seen the geese this early in the year. Love the spring. Can't wait for the snow to go. Mr. the Giant Puppy. Everyone should go check out Mr. the Giant Puppy's channel as well. He's got a very nice channel. And Christina says, not sure what Ohio was today. It might have hit 65. Felt good. Worked outside. And boy, have I aged over the winter. I can't wait to see your snow go blow alone. Yeah, I can't wait to see the snow go either, honestly. I do love winter. It is actually my favorite time of the year, but I am anxious to get outside and start playing in the dirt for sure. And Rob's asking Mr. the Giant Puppy if that is Leo, his dog, in the photo. And he is saying, I don't understand your question. Sorry, folks. Side conversations going on there. Top of the mountain to you, right? That's what I get for reading quickly. It should have said top of the morning. And instead I said top of the mountain. Oh my goodness. And if I get too close to the camera, it washes out. So I apologize, folks. And AK Homegrown Root says, will you please attach the link at the end? I love buying beeswax stuff. Yeah, so Big T, if you have the link for the beeswax candles and anything that you might be selling, if you could put a link up on the screen for everybody, that would be greatly appreciated. And hello, Beverly. How are you doing tonight? She says, with grow lights, could you have an inside garden in your back room? I could, but I'm trying to limit my use of electronic equipment. One, to keep the electric bill down because it is quite costly here at roughly 23 cents a kilowatt hour. And the other thing is that I will get a garden in outside, and then I'll be preserving all of that stuff. So originally I thought that I would be doing a container garden outside this year, but it turns out that I might be able to get the back of the property leveled before planting season starts here. And if that's the case, then I will do an in-ground garden this year. Though it might still be in a dog kennel because I won't get the fence up this year for sure. The fence is going to be a while. And Rob says, I slipped when speaking, right? I do that a lot, an awful lot. Billy Bob says, hot 50s in North Idaho, flood watches, rain falling, and snow on the mountains melting away quickly. Oh, that sounds dangerous. Do be careful for sure, Billy Bob. And Mr. the Giant Puppy says, oh, no, that's not Leo. That's a Tibetan Mastiff in the picture. And then he has asked, what breed is the pup in the photo? Tibetan Mastiff. And Norm says, beeswax was definitely more expensive. Beeswax is definitely more expensive right now. I use it in woodworking for my hand planes and finishes. Well, that's good to know. I bought some beeswax for a upcoming recipe that I'll share with everybody a while ago. I'm glad I bought it when I did, since the prices are on the rise. And Dennis is saying, mind your beeswax. And AK Homegrown says, yes, I will definitely check this out. Thank you for sharing. You are very welcome. I appreciate you going to check them out. And Jimmy Vaughn, how are you doing tonight from Lake of the Ozarks? Thank you for being here. Mr. says, sorry, curmudgeon. Mr. is part Tibetan Mastiff, and I think Leon. Big T says, I'm waiting for my electric bill to go down because the slab melters use a bunch of electric. I will post on my channel when I have some for sale. That is awesome. Awesome. Sorry, getting a little tongue-tied here. Hello, Christina. How are you doing from Northwest Wisconsin? I appreciate you being here tonight. And Billy Bob says, I bet your teeth were clean after eating those pancakes. And your insides, too. Oh, my goodness. And Jimmy Vaughn says, alone in Lake If the Ozarks. Oh, goodness. And Redneck Chick says, PK. Hello, Redneck Chick. Thank you for being here tonight. And AK Homegrown Root says, and long winter, lol, 9 months. Yes, it is a very long winter. That is for sure. I can see why people get tired of winter. especially if you have to drive in it all the time. Luckily, I haven't had to do that. And luckily for me, I love the Colt, so it doesn't seem to wear on me as easily, but it is definitely a big issue for some. And Linda says, hello to Christina, also from northern Wisconsin, enjoying this warm weather. Jay Delaney says, I'm lonely for you. Yeah, well, at least someone's taking on that burden for me, and you're taking it off my shoulders, Jay. I appreciate that. And Rob is saying that he's been trying to find a Leon Berger for a bit now, but no luck local. It is hard to find certain breeds of dogs here, or certain breeds of any animal for that matter. You have to, probably have one brought up from the lower 48. And Dennis says, tell us your favorite blonde joke. Oh my goodness. I'll have to get back to you on that one. Maybe I'll tell a blonde joke on the next one. But I'm not sure I can remember any jokes off the top of my head like that. But I'm more than happy to hear any of the jokes that you guys have tonight. I love it when you guys start telling the jokes in the side chat. I think they're funny. And Christina says, maybe Alaska needs more bodies to raise the temperature. Let's all go at the same time and see what happens. Come on, everyone. Oh my goodness. That would be funny if there was an influx and all of a sudden they're like, Alaska's the warmest it's ever been. Hello, Wayne Gauthier. How are you doing tonight? Says, I arrived late. Glad to see you're doing well. Well, I'm glad you're here nonetheless, and I hope you're doing well also. And there is Steve's channel link for everybody. Be sure to check out his channel and his live streams on Saturday night. They're a lot of fun. And Mr. saying he loves Leo, and that's what I thought I was getting, was a Leon Berger. Very interesting. All right, Robin Smith, how are you doing tonight? First live. I'm glad you could make it here. It says usually working. I would love to know what the video tracker is called. So I showed this earlier, but I'll bring it back up on the screen for you. So it is a Hohem iSteady M6 is what this is. And this thing worked out fantastic. I also have, I don't have them sitting right here, but I also got some DJI Pocket 2 cameras, which are just little small tracker cameras. And those work very similar to that. And they're small enough that you can carry them around in public and not be too obvious with them. So I'll be using those in some upcoming videos as well. And Mitzi says, you should get a cat if Kenai doesn't get jealous. It would help with the mice. I have thought about getting a cat. Unfortunately, this guy is not pet friendly. He doesn't like other dogs or other cats or anything. So maybe someday, but not while Kenai's around. Or I might have a mess to clean up of a different sort. And Big T is asking, do wolves cross your property? Any pics? So I have not seen a wolf on my property, but I have run into the wolves 3 different times now. 3, maybe more. So when I first arrived here at my property, within a couple of weeks of arriving, I had heard the wolves off in the distance behind my cabin. And then the next time I heard them, they were a little bit closer. And then the next time I heard them was when I was actually out at the car bringing in groceries in pitch darkness. And I thought there was a bear on the side of the cabin. Let me just put it to you that way. And I decided to tap on one of the poles out front and say, here, bear, just to let them know that I was out there and hopefully scare them off. Unfortunately, when I did that, I realized it wasn't a bear. It was a pack of wolves, because that set them off and they had the cabin basically surrounded. And at that point, I just grabbed Kenai and dragged him in the house and shut the door behind us. But recently, there were wolves behind the cabin again. I tried to capture the sound on my phone. I could not see them, but I believe that they were about half a mile or less away. But there are definitely wolves in this area, but I have not seen them on my property. I've not even seen a coyote on my property, but I see more evidence of coyotes on the property than I do of wolves, but they're definitely here for sure. And Sesame says, thanks for being a light in my life. I truly enjoy watching your channel. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you joining us here tonight in the chat. It means a lot to me to have everyone here. Ira says, how often do you need to do major food hauls from large towns? I do my major food hauls twice a year. I actually, the next video I'll be putting out this week is for a grocery haul video that I'm doing. But yeah, just twice a year. It's too expensive to drive into town that often. And to be honest with you, I kind of enjoy it because it means that I'm hedging against upcoming inflation on food prices. Every time you turn around, someone's talking about how expensive things are getting and also some shortages. So one of the things that I picked up in town was some bottled water, not just like, you know, bottled water, but sparkling water. And I got the last 4 6 packs they had. There was hardly anything on shelf. And I know that that's probably not a very in demand item and they probably don't carry a lot of it. But that's the thing here is when you really want something, you should grab it when you see it because it might not be available the next time you get there because somebody like me probably grabbed it. And Two Bears is saying, can you be lonelier in a room full of people than in a remote cabin by yourself? Oh, you can be lonelier. It wasn't a question. My bad. I agree. You can definitely be lonelier in a room full of people than being by yourself. I agree with that completely. And there is Dogman's channel link for everybody. Thank you, Rob. And then Mr. is saying, go check out Mr.'s videos and tell me what you think. I live Dawson, I think he's saying in Dawson, and it's still too warm for this guy, meaning he's a very hairy puppy and he's probably, you know, wanting to be where it's very cold, like up in the Arctic Circle. Sarah says, I still have not been off my mountain, but twice. I have had friends from Florida visit Alaska and wave from the train as it passes our whistle stop. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to have your friends, you know, catch you right like that as they're passing by. And there is Adam and Phyllis from Alaska's Cut the Cord. Thank you for being here tonight. We were talking about you earlier and your ice fishing up there at Lake Louise. And Dave says, when I bought my land, Google Maps had a real estate function. Oh, that's interesting. I never realized that they had that. That is quite interesting, actually. That would have been something to see what Google was showing at the time. And Alaska Cut the Cord. Adam says I'm assuming it's Adam speaking, but maybe it's Phyllis and says, I'm actually 51% of the Adam and Phyllis show over at Alaska Cut the Cord. That's funny. And Bill says, I sent Adam a text last weekend. Oh, personal information. Billy Bob says, alone, no matter who gets the right straw, they will have gotten a keeper. Oh, well, thank you, Billy Bob. I appreciate that. And Alaska Cut the Cord says, how are you doing today? Over to Rob at Curmudgeon Inn. And Jay Delaney says, I will accept your answer. Thank you. Let's get it on. Great. Now I'm going to have Marvin Gaye in my head all night. I'm going to start swaying as I'm talking to you guys. And there is Alaska's Cut the Cords channel link. Thank you for doing that, Rob. And also Bill over there at Alaska's Last Frontier Homestead. It's nice having 2 moderators here tonight. I appreciate you both. AK Homegrown Root says, and your plants become your babies. Oh my goodness. Yes, and when the squirrels get to them, or the rabbits or, you know, deer or whatever else you might have in your area, it's heart-wrenching to see them eat your crops. And Goat Lover says, really enjoying your life. Well, thank you. I appreciate you being here tonight, Goat Lover, and I appreciate your comment as well. Two Bears says, I may as well throw my straw in that hat too. Will you marry me, Miss Alone? I come with a tractor trailer full of tools and my own sawmill and skills to use them. The pot is getting bigger. Oh my goodness. One of these days I'm going to just have a raffle. Christine says, wintertime, you can ground yourself by placing your hands on live trees. Nice. Very, very nice. And Sesame, sorry, says, what caliber is that pistol you carry, milady? It is a 357 Magnum. I absolutely love that gun. It was one of my grandfather's guns, and I am very happy to have it. Christine says, good night, going to bed. I work early in the morning, 3 a.m. That is early. Well, I hope you get a good night's sleep, and I thank you for being here tonight, Christine. And hello, Linda. How are you doing tonight? I hope you're doing well. She says, hello, Alaska. Loved yesterday's video. When I lived in West Virginia, we had running water, but you had to go catch it. That's funny. Treasure says, I wonder if nasturtium seeds need to be soaked like morning glory seeds before planting them. That might be because it is a very dense seed shell on them. It's almost like pepper, like black peppercorns is what they remind me of, only rougher. And Donna says it is 6:45 there. Ooh, I'm about 15 minutes behind, if not more. I should probably speed it up a little bit here. And there is Bill Dixon's channel link for everybody over at the Pungo Prairie. Thank you, Rob. AK Homegrown Roots says, and it'll make your bill go up. Mine doubled. Eek. Yeah, when I lived in Colorado, one of the homes that I had, I shared with another family member, and they had put up some Christmas lights, LED Christmas lights. I don't know if they were LED, believe it or not. Probably not. They're probably just your old-fashioned Christmas lights. And the electric bill jumped up so sky high that I almost had a heart attack just from the Christmas lights. So, and electric in Colorado is not cheap, but it's definitely not as expensive as it is here. So I'm going to try to do everything I can. For the squash, they needed to be at about 65 degrees in order to sprout. And so those I just set on the water barrel next to the wood stove so that their bottom side was facing the wood stove and their tops were facing the sunny window. And within a couple of days, they sprouted nicely. And then for the green onions and the leeks, they actually needed to stratify, which means they needed to be subject to freezing temperatures before they would sprout. So I set them outside overnight for a couple of days and then brought them back in. And then I did have some sprout, but only a couple. So maybe I didn't leave them outside long enough, or maybe the seeds are just not viable. But either way, it's all fun trying, and some things work and some things don't. Mrs. Smith is saying, all is well at the ranch. Loved your last video. Thanks for the shout out. You look great. Time away from your old job has put a big smile on your face. Yes, I'm a lot more at ease, not sitting here stewing over the computer and everything that my employer had going on. So I definitely feel a lot better. I feel like maybe some of the worry lines are disappearing out of my forehead. Oh my goodness. Ira says, will you be growing any medicinal herbs such as nettles and echinacea? I definitely will be growing some medicinal herbs. Echinacea is definitely one of them. I'm a huge fan of echinacea. Every bit of that plant has medicinal properties, and it's beautiful to look at. But I will also be growing some other things like feverfew and yarrow and, things like that. And I would like to get some elderberry here as well. That is one of the plants that I absolutely love and I use on a daily basis. And so I would love to be able to grow some of my own. I just need to order some in. And there is Mrs. Smith's channel link as well. Thank you, Rob, for doing that. And Mr. says, Alone, I may have missed it in all of your videos, but is there any reason you don't have a cistern? So I do have a 500-gallon cistern in the cellar of my videos, in the cellar of my cabin. However, when I arrived here, that cistern had some water that was left in it, and it was very dirty, and there was no way really for me to clean it out unless I did a full flush. But without having a way to haul water here, getting a full flush really wasn't an option. And so I had it filled from a water company up in Glen Allen. But then, I was told that water really isn't potable. He might offer it as being potable, but the people in the area told me, they advised me not to drink that water, and I wouldn't have anyhow because of how filthy that cistern was. So I use that only for fire suppression, because as a requirement of my insurance company to insure this property, I had to have the ability to fight fires here. And it wasn't just having smoke alarms and fire extinguishers. That actually wasn't sufficient enough for the insurance on this cabin. The other thing about the insurance on this cabin is that I don't qualify for a traditional homeowners policy because of how far out I am from a fully manned fire department. The fire departments in this area are volunteer, and it takes a while for people to get to the volunteer fire department to collect the gear and then get out to the fire. It could be a couple of hours. By the time your home could be burnt to the ground. And so, hence why that cistern is used for fighting fires only. Um, I also don't have a way of hauling water in right now in larger capacity than the jugs that I use. And I don't have gutters on my new roof yet that would allow for me to fill a cistern at this moment. So in the future, there will be gutters, removable gutters that will be put on the roof eaves and allow me to fill a cistern. It just hasn't happened as of yet. But hopefully in the very near future, that is something that will be happening. So great question. Thank you for asking that. And Rob is saying, okay, folks, let's be sure to give Alone a thumbs up. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate that very much. Hello, Timothy. How are you doing from East Petersburg, Pennsylvania? Love the videos. Thank you very much for the compliment. I really appreciate that. And Byron, thank you for being here also, and says, I'm rooting for you to beat the system and make money vlogging about your job search. There's a lady that made $6,000 on a video telling how she lost money in real estate. Oh, wow. Yeah, I could believe that too. Real estate is a tough market, and it's one. So I used to have a business. I'm not going to say what the business was, but I used to have a business that was a luxury, in my opinion, for people to utilize the services that I offered. And during the recession of 2008, I could see the writing on the wall, and I closed my business doors and said, I'm out before people start letting go of me. And sure enough, within, a couple of months of me closing my doors, everyone had said, yeah, I'm kind of glad that you let yourself go before I had to, because we were laid off, or so-and-so was, hours were cut and what have you. And so it's hard when you're in a luxury industry. And it's hard when you're in an industry where it's subject to the government's interest rates and things like that. And like I said, the legalities of it too just kind of scare me. But yeah, I would love it if I could make a living just doing YouTube. That would be great. Luckily, it wouldn't take much to get me there. But I had said when I first started this YouTube channel that when I made enough money to not only cover my bills, but to provide a little extra so I could put money away as a nest egg, then I would start taking it, as a sign that it was time to quit my job. I knew my job would eventually be going away though. So hopefully soon it'll get to that point where it's, able to cover my bills on a steady income. It would have to do it for a period of 6 months before, or a period of months, I should say, maybe not 6 months, but a period of months before I would feel that it was doing well enough to allow me to do this comfortably and not worry about, am I going to be able to survive doing this? Right now, I consider it hobby money, but I appreciate the support nonetheless. It makes me feel good that everyone's rooting for me. RM says, thumbs up, y'all. Let's give this lovely lady some likes. Thank you, RM. I appreciate that. And Adam is saying, I'm fine with the current temps because it also means no mosquitoes. They're on the way. I was in Glen Ellen, and the lady at the grocery store up there said that she saw mosquitoes just the other day. So they are definitely on their way. And Christina is saying to Linda Jones, yes, totally enjoying the warmer weather. Snow is really melting now. Only 1 to 2 feet left on the garden. Oh my goodness, snow everywhere. And Mr. says, what does a blonde do when her laptop freezes? Puts it in the microwave. Kaboom. And Steve says, 2 blondes going to Disney World Highway. Sign says Disney left. They burst into tears and went home. Oh my goodness. Steve says, so I was waiting for this blonde to tell a blonde joke, and Oh, too much. I should be careful what I ask for. Christina says, I want a 4-footed companion real bad. I need a t-shirt that says that. What do you think? Oh, that would be cute. We should make one. Put it on the channel. And I'll give you credit for it, Christina. Robin says, thank you. You're welcome, Robin. Thank you. Wendy, hello. Hello. How are you doing tonight? She says, it's supposed to be 80 here in Northeast Wisconsin on Wednesday. That's a bit too warm for me this time of the year. Yeah, if it's 80 already and it's only April, it means it's only going to get hotter. Then it says, people gripe about global warming. Most people in Alaska, bring it on already. Yeah, until we get the floods from all the breakup. AK Homegrown Roots is asking if there have been any bears yet. I have not seen any. I saw some tracks in the driveway yesterday as I was heading out, and I thought at first that they were a bear, only because the snow had blown over them and the shape and the size of the footprint. But as I continued to follow him down the driveway, I was able to see that it was indeed just a moose. But it kind of concerned me because it walked down the driveway, and instead of going up over the snow mounted on the edge of the driveway, it just looped around and went back in its same track. And I was like, uh-oh. But sure enough, it was just a moose. And eventually it went up and over the snow mound. And that definitely cemented that. So, and Rob is saying, wait, speaking of joke telling, where is Ed? I was wondering the same thing. So we're missing Ed from Mountain Mariner here tonight. He is normally our resident joke teller. Hopefully he is doing well tonight. And Clint says, two blondes walk into a bar. You think one of them would have seen it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, goodness. And Bill is saying, no, we like it cold, at least in the wintertime anyways, right? Iris says, I was wondering when you first arrived to your amazing homestead, did you drive from the lower 48 or did you buy your vehicle in Alaska? I bought my vehicle right before leaving Colorado. And then I drove up here and I took the ferry across the Gulf of Alaska. I did not go through Canada. So, but I basically drove the whole way regardless. So, and Big T is saying, and I'm one other thing about Ira's comment is I'm glad I purchased my vehicle when I did, because right after I arrived is when the car market went crazy and there weren't any cars to be had. So very glad I purchased when I did. It was serendipitous, to say the least. And Big T is saying, what sets the wolves off is the sight of plaid. Uh-oh, I'm in big trouble between all the plaid and the gingham around here. That's funny. Rob is saying, did you fill the shaker yesterday? No. No, I did not. I'll have to look it up on the map and see where it was, but no, I didn't fill anything. And Chris is saying good night to everyone. Guten Tag to you too, and Guten Nacht. I hope you have a good night, Chris, and thank you for being here earlier. I appreciate it very, very much. Chris is also someone who's been following the channel from the very beginning, and I really appreciate him sticking around. And my Dixie Wrecked, how are you doing tonight? Says, why did the chicken cross the road? To see Gregory Peck. Oh my goodness. That's hilarious. Oh. Alaska's Last Frontier says, I'm heading into Anchorage tomorrow. Might swing by Costco. I have avoided Costco not because of anything having to do with Costco, but because in Colorado, when you go to Costco, you were in a line that was a mile long and it was just too crowded for me. But I'm actually thinking I might look at getting a Costco card here in Alaska. So maybe, but I know the stores that, the regular Cars, which is like Safeway, which is now also part of Albertsons, and then Fred Meyer's, which is Kroger, so King Super, City Market, those type things. Their selection sometimes is quite iffy. A lot of times they have great variety of stuff and great selection, but sometimes you go in there and you're just like, oh my goodness, there is nothing on the shelf to be had. And so I'm thinking about Costco, but I haven't quite decided yet. And Steve's saying, ooh, sparkling water, this nudie stuff. Yeah, the snooty stuff is for a recipe. It's not for the fact that I'm snooty. But also, when the other night when I had that dry cough, I figured if I had something that had a little effervescence to it, maybe it would have helped to break up that cough. Oh my goodness, too funny. And Dennis says, sure, cold winter, cool spring, but April Fools is my cutoff. It's got to be warming up soon. Yeah, this winter seems to be a little bit longer lasting feeling to me than it was last year. But again, this is only my second spring here, so we'll see. Mrs. Smith said, I had to open the windows this evening. It got up to 70 degrees in the house, way too hot for us. April record breaking heat wave on the front range. That's a tongue twister for me, folks. Oh my goodness. 70 degrees in the house. I haven't had my house at 70 degrees by my own accord since moving from Colorado. That's for sure. It's warming up early, Bill says. It rarely gets below 0 degrees these days. It was 0 degrees here overnight last night, and I think the low tonight is supposed to be 11 degrees. So, and then looks like we're going to start warming up, but still next week, all still in the 30s here. So Donna says 47 is the high here today and 37 low on a really cold and rain and wind. Brr. Well, it sounds beautiful to me, but probably not for you since you're probably not used to all that cold. But I would love it. Christina says, good advice about picking up things when you see them. That holds true for Costco and regular stores too. There have been several times I have waited and have been sorry. Yes. This is a reason that I actually went shopping this weekend, which is why you're getting a grocery haul video this weekend, was things were on sale. So I meant that I was going to get them, at a greater value, hopefully, than the normal prices. And the other thing is because I just know that if I didn't go now and prices went up, there was also the chance that I might miss out on some things. And I'm sure things being on sale had a reason to do with some of the things being absent from the shelves. But at least the prices were good. But I wasn't able to get everything I needed. So I'll be making a second trip later, but at least I got a good start on my grocery haul for this year. At least for the summer anyhow. And Dennis says, it was negative 15 in Delta this morning. My yard is still covered in a yard of snow. Same here as far as the snow. I still have feet and feet of snow outside. And it's definitely not melting. In fact, like I said, another 6 inches fell just in the last couple of days. And there is the link to Rob's channel over there at the Curmudgeon Inn. Please be sure to give him a follow and a like. And Bill says, same here, at least a yard of snow in his yard also. And John says, hello to Bill. Hello, Tammy Edmonds. How are you doing? And she says, hello from Newfoundland, Canada. Love your show. Thank you. I appreciate you being here very, very much. And Marla, how are you doing tonight? She says, hello, alone. Glad to see you're doing well. Your channel is inspiring and educational, and I so enjoy it. I wondered if you could share how much property acres you have there. I have 5 acres of land here on my property, but then I'm surrounded by state and federal lands. And so it really feels like I have a ton of acreage way beyond my 5 acres that I have. And it's really nice because no one will ever block my views of those beautiful mountains behind me. So I'm very fortunate to have found this property. Dennis says, oh my, a suitor with a sawmill. I'll call your sawmill and raise you a riverboat. If Alone wants, I'll send her the pics of the boat. Oh my goodness, Dennis. Oh, that's funny. John says, I watched your video doing laundry. When I lived off the road system, I did my laundry in a 5-gallon bucket with a toilet plunger. I've seen that. And, I know I had actually originally tried to purchase a plunger type system for my hand washing, but I heard some things about the system that I had looked at getting and, some of the things that it was doing to buttons and things like that on the clothes. But also, I actually enjoy the agitation with my hands. It keeps me young. I was looking at my arms in those videos. So I'm like, man, you can tell I haven't done laundry in a while. My arms were looking rather puffy compared to the rest of me. Maybe I need to get busy and do more laundry. Um, Steve says, I've got a welder and a chainsaw and I'll raise you a postal digger. Oh my goodness. Oh, Linda says, hey, Treasure Rescue, nasturtiums need to be nicked and then I soak them overnight. Same thing with morning glory. So there you go, Dennis. Maybe that will help you get those nasturtiums to sprout for you. And Bill is saying, did you get to keep your computer from your job considering they went out of business? Well, it's still sitting here. So yes, it looks like I did. However, I wouldn't be surprised if I got a subpoena or something to send it back. So we'll see. But right now it's still in my possession. It's not like there's anything on it because all the work I did was actually online. So but who knows? And the computer's really old, like incredibly old. It has like zero memory on it. Every time I go to download a document or watch a video on it, it says, please clear some data so you can continue. I'm like, oh no. And everything I've been storing on it for years has been on external drives, but it is such an old computer. It's not worth much, if anything. My Dixie Rect says, speaking of medicinal herbs, I just found some wild elderberry plants in St. John's Wort. Oh, that's fantastic. That's even better when you can find them out in the wild and you didn't have to actually plant them yourself or pay to get starts. That's all the better, as long as you can definitely get to them when you need them and before the other animals do. Sorry, I kicked something under my desk. Dennis says, I did the bucket and the plunger in Iraq. You haven't lived till you wondered when the last time the plunger served its intended purpose. Oh, no, that's not good. Hello, Jennifer. How are you doing tonight? She's asking if the PO box has opened to receive packages. It is open. I went there today and I got 2 lovely letters in the mail today, which I will share some of on the next video. But yes, it is open, and so is the Amazon wish list for anyone who is curious about that as well. And Rob says, you can get elderberries in Wasilla. I picked some up Friday for myself. Oh, fantastic. I will give that a check the next time I am in Wasilla. And Brent says, I like cooking with stinging nettle, especially making nettle pie with feta cheese. Well, I'll have to give that a try. I have never actually seen stinging nettle or any nettles for that matter, to my knowledge, firsthand. So I'm very curious about stinging nettles. I've seen how to handle them and, all the different ways or a bunch of different ways that you can cook with them, but I've not had the opportunity to try them myself or to encounter them growing either. So definitely understand they're very nutritious though. And Mitzi says, love throws Kill Church's big fan. And you would be a great at a sleepover with the scary stories. That scary being stalked by wolves and the coyote. Yeah, so the coyote, I'm always seeing evidence of them. Like there's a tree where I dump all my wastewater in the wintertime. In the summertime, I go way out further into the woods. But this tree that is just on the other side of the outhouse, essentially, in the summertime, there is so much evidence of coyotes right there. And I'm just like, what is it about this tree that they really like? And it isn't just that they're maybe scrounging for whatever remnants of dishwater there might be there, because they leave me pleasant little treats of whatever bone they were gnawing on last. So, but they're definitely around, and I've seen coyotes as I've been driving down the Richardson Highway as well. So I know they're not just in my area, but they're all over Alaska. Lost Mom Outdoor says, is it possible to have a well dug at your homestead? It is possible, but it would be very costly because I would have to go several hundred feet down. And there is no guarantee that I'm going to hit an aquifer. If I do hit an aquifer, there's a good chance that it will not produce much in a flow rate and that the water will not be suitable for drinking because it'll be high in copper and sulfur. So that is why I'm really not going to pursue a well here on the property. I've heard of other people in the area who have tried to dig wells, spent tens of thousands of dollars to do so and had zero success in hitting water And that's unfortunate because that's a lot of money to output for a well that doesn't operate. Two Bears says, I already told Miss Alone I was building a boat when I got to Alaska and taking her fishing out of Valdez. That he did. That he did. I told him too, and I should tell you this too, Dennis, is that, well, I want to go fishing. I'm a bit of a chicken when it comes to being on the ocean. So, yeah, buyer beware. Let's put it that way. And Dave says, are you going to grow marijuana? I am not going to grow marijuana. I don't partake in marijuana whatsoever. I don't have a problem with anybody who does, but I myself don't partake. So the more the merrier for you and others, but for myself, no. And Charles says, I made it. Glad you're here tonight, Charles. Yeah, better late than never. And Dennis says, you got to get here first. To Two Bears. Oh my. Steve says, planting elderberry, cut sticks from local plants, and they will be hardier for your weather. I will give details in an email. I got to find the plants first. That's the first thing, Steve. So I'm on the lookout for them. And my Dixie says, I forgot, also dug up some trifoliate orange and river birch. Oh, nice. Oh, I bet that's beautiful. There's lots of river birch in Colorado as you're coming out of not Glenwood Springs, but Georgetown. And it's really, really pretty. Byron says, sorry for the spelling. Good night. Oh, it's okay. Like I said, we're all guilty of it tonight. We're all either misspelling, misspeaking, one or the other. It comes with the territory. Hello, Tracy. How are you doing tonight? Enjoying your video so much. She says it's 9:05 in Arkansas. Hello, Shane Ladow. How are you doing? I appreciate you being here again tonight. Shane says IBC totes for water and chicken tractors for some chickens. Oh, yes, that would be a good idea as well. So if I get a pickup truck, which is something that I'm desperately wanting to do, if I get a pickup truck, I'll probably get an IBC tote or a big rigid tote that I can put in there and haul more water, but yet to be seen. Dennis says, my boat's already built and in 6,000 more payments, it'll be mine. Oh my goodness. My Dixie Rex says, woohoo, pig, suey, razorbacks. Yes, I would love to have some pigs on the property. I would love to, if I had any livestock, it would probably be ducks and pigs, maybe goats. But I want the pigs for the fact that they'll keep all the saplings at bay. And also, if I got some mangalistas, I would have some nice red meat from those pigs. And hello, Larry. How are you doing, my dear cousin? Nice of you to be here tonight. And Two Bears says, Lowell, I've had 2 welders, torches, and a post hole drill on and on. I have 5 buildings full of tools. Just saying. You guys are too funny listing off all your assets. Wait, wasn't it the bride who was supposed to provide the dowry? I forget how this works. Oh, yeah, as normal. This is why Dewey's always comparing me to Steve. What's that guy's name? The Muppet. He showed me this shirt the other day. I can't remember. I have no memory. Oh, Peanut. Peanut, yes. Peanut the puppet. That's me. Right over the top of my head. Thumbs up, folks. Thank you. Rob is saying, show me some love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Two Bears from Dennis says, that sounds real nice. How you feel about these modern relationships? You being alone. Okay, now I am blushing for sure. Oh my goodness. And Lost Mom says, my brother was stationed in Alaska when he was in the Army. He said the mosquitoes are the state bird. They are, and they can be quite large. The further north you go or more towards, the wetter areas of the state, they are, about 1.5 inches in length, and they're in swarms that look like you're just driving through a cloud. They're so bad. And Torben says, got snow, some snow today. Yes, same here. Hopefully, or luckily, it stopped right now, and hopefully I don't get more overnight, but definitely I got some more here as well. And Bill says, just take the leap and do YouTube full time, get some merch and a Patreon account. So I have Patreon. I also have PayPal, and I have merch on my channel page as well, with a bunch of different designs. So yeah, I'm already doing all of that. I am going to possibly do some affiliate links as well for things like the gimbal that I'm using and what have you, but I haven't decided yet. So I am looking at ways of increasing my income through YouTube as well. But yes, thank you, Bill. I appreciate the suggestions. And Linda says, I don't remember if you have IBC totes, or maybe that was Cecilia Bomadal in Svalbard. Yes, it was Cecilia. Cecilia has that, but I do not. I don't have any IBC totes or anything like that as of yet. So, and Bill says he went past 3 bears today, meaning he didn't go in, he didn't stop. So that's not good. 2 Bears is laughing and says, but I'm laughing so hard I can't breathe. He says, ooh. And there is Alaska Cut the Cords channel link. Thank you for doing that, Rob. And yeah, the store, Bill. Oh, get it. I drove past 3 bears today. 3 bears, the stores. That's exactly what I thought of when I'm in Alaska. That's all I think of. 3 bears, the store. I don't think of 3 bears as 3 individual grizzlies or black bears. Hey, there's our friend Ed. How are you doing tonight? He said, my fake plants died because I did not pretend to water them. I was missing you, Ed. I'm so glad you're here. He says, just showed up and heard people talking about me. Yeah, and then it got quiet after you showed up. I wonder why. Dennis Pratt says, do the Bears are in Chicago and they suck. Oh my goodness. All I remember about the Bears is the bad news Bears. And there is Ed's channel link. Thank you for putting that up there, Rob. Christina says, I saw new wolf tracks in my driveway today when I got my trash can by the road. Almost never a moose here. Do you think you have more wolves or moose? It's hard to say. I haven't seen a moose on the property at all this winter. I've seen tracks 3 times. 3 times, that's it. But I would say it's probably equal here. And I know of a trapper in the area, and he's always taking wolves down. So I would say that it's probably pretty wolf heavy on this side of the state. But it's hard for me to say because like I said, I don't really see them. I just hear them every now and then. And hello, Mr. Mike Lambert. How are you doing? He says, good to hear you again from remote north of Talkeetna. Well, I'm glad you're here tonight. Thank you for joining us. And Ed says, long day back in town. Great, great, great. Glad you're here. And hello, Larry. Hello. How are you doing? And Dennis says, plaid. That's because I'm always wearing plaid. Plaid, gingham, like the gingham I have on tonight. They've gone plaid. Instead of they've gone mad, they've gone plaid. Then it says Costco and Fairbanks is pretty easy. That's good to know. I rarely make it up to Fairbanks. I'm generally going, at least this time of the year, if I'm going to head off, I'm going to go down the Glen. My understanding is that the drive to Fairbanks can be a bit iffy from here. While it's flatter, there's a lot of wind that crosses the Richardson Highway, and it can be quite slick. And Bill is telling Ed, welcome back to civilization. RM says, if you go to Costco, don't buy the ground beef. Something is super nasty about it. Oh, that is not good to know. That is not good. When I was growing up, we had Costco beef, and the steaks were always good. So if something is off about the ground beef, then thank you for the warning, because that is sketchy to say the least. And Mountain Truth says, I'm driving a Sharp 2000 F-150, just put new tires on it, never been in the shop. I turn wrench and just basic stuff at 300,000. Never had a truck payment, saved me through rough times. That's fantastic. And thank you for joining us tonight, by the way, as well. And I have to admit that if I'm going to get a truck, I do want it to be a Ford. I grew up with Ford trucks, and I absolutely love them. I would like an older Ford truck. I would like a Ford truck before electronics became the predominant operating system in the vehicle. I want one that an EMP is not necessarily going to take off, you know, the whole operating system offline. And Bill is saying Costco in Anchorage isn't bad either, as long as you don't go on the weekend. Yes, very busy on the weekends everywhere in Anchorage, it seems. And Treasure says, what did the blonde say after seeing a box of Cheerios? Oh my God, donut seeds. That's cute. Dennis says, even the weekends is okay in Fairbanks. Good to know. Good to know. And Ira, when is your approximate frost date to plant most crops outside? The first weekend in June is what the everything I've read on the internet says. And I went back and looked at my videos. Excuse me. I went back and looked at my videos from last year, that through May and June, and it was definitely up through the first week in June that I still had snow on the ground. So, yeah, I would assume that everything I'm seeing on the internet lines up right with that. And Jacket says, RM, yeah, on the beef. I've had good batches. This last one was super tough. The dog doesn't like it much. That's scary. When your dog doesn't want to eat the hamburger or what have you, that's a sign that I wouldn't eat it either. I got Kenai some soup bones, some dog, not dog bones, but they were meant for dogs, at the store, and he won't touch them. He absolutely won't touch them. He won't lick them. He won't bite them. He doesn't want anything to do with them. And that bothers me when the dog doesn't want a dog bone, but I can pull a different dog bone that I've had, in the freezer and give it to him, and he's all about it. But some of them, he's like, something's wrong with that. I'm not touching it. And that really concerns me. And Rob says, yeah, Costco had 5-gallon pail of honey last year. I was going to buy it to make a batch or two of mead. Went back a week later and it was all gone. Will not make that mistake again. Yep, I've had that problem where I've gone to buy something and then think, oh, I should have just not get it today, and then go back and it's not there anymore. The prices skyrocketed. It's also an issue. And Dennis says, I drove by the Costco in Anchorage once. Once. Oh my goodness. Hello, Serindlo. How are you doing tonight? It says, I have seen that if you carry a gun and go into Canada, they will take it. If they even find one bullet, they will tear everything apart to find the gun. You can go into Canada with your guns, but you have to have all of the documentation, is my understanding. Things may have changed since that, since I first learned about that, but I know they're not very gun friendly. And Larry is saying it was almost 80 degrees there in Colorado today. Woo, warm. I had heard the same thing from a friend of mine in Colorado. She was saying that it was going to be 70s and 80s for the next few days. Very, very warm already. RM says, even if a dog won't eat the beef, something is seriously wrong. Not only tough, it tastes weird, like something not normal was added. Ugh. This is one of the reasons why I did buy the beef and the pork that I did from a local rancher here in Alaska, was because there was some talk about the meats not being right at some of the different stores throughout the nation. And I just like, I'm not going to take a chance. I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to buy from, a well-known rancher here in the state who grass feeds, as opposed to feeding some grain that they're getting from who knows where, who has put whatever into it that they're not even aware of. So, but then I took the risk of doing that, and now I'm dealing with flavorless and tough beef. So it's a trade-off, but at least I trust that what I'm eating isn't going to make me sick. Ed says, it snowed every day for the last 6 days. Almost didn't get back to town today. Only a short break in the clouds for my flight out. Oh my goodness. For those of you who are not familiar with Mountain Mariner, he lives at the top of a mountain, and the only way that he really has to get off of his property is by helicopter. So I'm glad you were able to make it off to get into town, and that you were able to hopefully get back to your property as well. And My Dixie Rex says, how much mead can you get from a 5-gallon pail of honey, Rob? And Ed says, snow in the forecast for the next 4 days. I believe it. It's still snowing here. Like I said, it was snowing this morning, and I think it'll probably still be snowing tonight, later on. And Dennis says, I've run into that problem, but I wasn't making mead with the honey. Yow. That'd be a lot of mead for sure. Rob says, going to be like this for a few more days. A few more days of snow, they're saying. And hello, Leanne. She's saying, where did you get your meat? I saw in one of your videos that you bought half a cow. I'm in Anchorage and it's been snowing for 3 days. It just stopped. Oh, I don't have my cup in here. Yeah, I do. So I bought the beef that I don't know if you can see that. It's not really picking up on the camera, but I bought it from a rancher called Hunsgates Farm. And I bought both my pork and the beef from them. And the pork is delicious. I've had no issues with the pork. The beef, however, some of it's been flavorless. A lot of it's been really tough. There's a lot of silver skin and gristle and zero fat on it because it's grass fed. But if push came to shove, I would buy again just so I would have meat in the freezer. But it was, I want to say, I don't remember how much I spent, but I think $6.50 a pound is what they charge. But then once you add in the processing fees and everything like that, it came out to be a lot more. But Hunsgates Farm, and you can find them online. They take their beef orders in December, and then their pork orders, they take one in the spring and one in the fall. And then they're ready the following season. And Bill saying to John in Alaska, I hope it was a clean toilet plunger. Oh my goodness. I'm so far behind in the comments. I apologize, everybody. And Bang Bang, hello, how are you doing? Says, that must be incredibly hard to shop for 6 months in advance. Don't you crave things ever? I keep a pretty robust pantry. And usually anything that I'm craving, I can whip up with what I keep between the freezers and the pantry. So, but I'm not much of one for eating out. So it's not like I crave restaurant food or fast food or anything like that. And yeah, I don't really know how to answer that other than I can pretty much make just about anything I want with what I have on hand. Towards the end of the season though, when I've depleted the vegetables in the freezer or on shelf, that's when I start craving things because I want the fresh vegetables or at least frozen vegetables that I can't get out of the freezer at that moment. But by that time, it's just about time to go shopping again. So it all works out. And hello, Timothy. How are you doing tonight? Timothy says, as a mature man, it pains me to see you work so hard washing clothes. Get yourself a washing machine and dryer so you can enjoy your home life better. To be honest with you, I was telling this to someone earlier that when I had a traditional washer and dryer back in Colorado, I hated to do the laundry. In fact, I would let the laundry pile up because I hated doing it so much. When I do the laundry by hand, it's very interactive. It keeps my brain occupied or allows my brain to work through different things. And I actually enjoy doing the laundry by hand. I know a lot of people wouldn't, but to be honest with you, I find it rather enjoyable. And I also am enjoying the fact that my clothes get super clean. And I didn't even have them that clean when I was using a brand new washer and dryer back in Colorado. So appreciate the concern, but trust me, I'm having a great life and a great time doing my laundry by hand, as weird as that might seem. Steve says, just step aside, boys. I'm a carpenter with 40 years experience, all tools included, and a 10 millimeter and a 44 mag. Woo! It's getting hot in here. And he can climb ladders. Oh, that's the kicker right there. Can you climb a ladder and clean my chimney? I'm going to have to start taking applications here and reading off resumes. Lost Mom says, we have stinging nettle here in Wisconsin. I know of another channel. I cannot remember their name off the top of my head, so I really apologize. I know another channel here in Alaska that was growing there on stinging nettle. So I know I can grow it here. I just haven't had the opportunity to ever see it in the wild anywhere, or anyone else's garden for that matter other than on the internet. And Bill is saying, I noticed you didn't stop by to Rob. Um, those boys, they just need to get together and have some guy time. Debbie, how are you doing tonight? Debbie says, checking in from Kentucky. Loved your laundry video. I lived off grid for 3 years and did laundry in 5-gallon bucket with a plunger. Getting too old to do that now. Well, I hope that I stay in good enough health that I can always do my laundry by hand. But I'm sure one day I'll be saying, oh, I remember when I used to do that, and there's no way I would do it again. But for right now, I'm going to do it as long as my health allows me to. And I am so glad that you liked the video. So thank you very much, Debbie. And Rob is saying, my last video I posted, I showed the little Wolverine that has been stomping around. Oh, that's cool. I did not get a chance to see the Wolverine, but excuse me, folks, I had to sit differently here, but I will go back and rewatch the video. I had a Wolverine here last year. So they're the ones that I don't want to run into more than anything else on the property. I don't want to run into the Wolverine. That would not be fun. Two Bear says, Steve, you need to up your game then. I've been 50 years doing wood projects and 40 years doing metalworking. Linda says, I have an old computer in the same state. Anything I want to save is on an external drive. When I need the space, I just reformat the hard drive. That usually gives me Windows 95 a lot of space. Yeah, Windows 95. I'm not quite that old on this computer, but it's close. It's definitely close. Hello, Mama 2. How are you doing tonight? I haven't seen you in a bit. I'm glad you're here. And she says, how is spring like? Is it there now? Not yet. I'm still getting snow. It might be spring snows, of course, but I'm still getting snow and it's still pretty cold outside. I was saying earlier that the overnight low was 0 and the high today, I think, was around 31, 32 degrees. So still pretty cold here, but yeah, I'm sure spring is right around the corner. Rob is saying, Ed and I will take you out, most likely between the two of us. We have 60 plus years on the water or more. Yeah, well, if ever I get out on that water, it's going to have to definitely be with somebody who knows what they're doing. Because when I came to Alaska for vacation one year with my family, we took a deep sea salmon fishing trip. And I put on a brave face the entire time I was on that boat, but I had never been more scared in my life, to be honest with you. The water was as dark as that black backdrop behind me. And that was like, you could just see the top like ½ inch of water. And then everything underneath it was just jet black and you couldn't see anything. And the day before we went out on our fishing vessel, a whale had breached and landed on top of another fishing vessel and capsized it. And that's all I could think about the whole time I was on that ship was, oh my goodness, if a whale comes up and just bumps us or knocks us or whatever, we're done for. And I had all my kids on there and they were really young. And I kept thinking, just be brave for them. Brave. Just don't let them see you sweat. The whole time I was like, oh, I just went off this boat. Dennis says, I'm a bona fide woodworking enthusiast. If I called myself a carpenter, people would demand me too much. Oh my goodness. It's all in the title. Steve says, that just means I have 10 more good years to work. Hello, Jill. How are you doing? She says, just made it. I'm glad to be visiting with everyone. Well, we're glad to have you here too, Jill. Thank you very much. And Carlos Sanchez, thank you for being here also. Says, hey, mad respect from a guy who grew up in the South Bronx in the 60s. Well, that says a lot because the Bronx is one heck of a place for sure. So thank you, Carlos. I appreciate it. And Bill over at Alaska's Last Frontier says, I'm pretty sure I'm getting chickens, rabbits, and pigs this summer. Well, you are going to really have quite the homestead. I'm going to have to come out and check out your property once you get everything all set up and get some hints and tips from you for the raising all the livestock. And Leanne how are you doing tonight? She says, I bought a 2021 26 Duckworth. 26-foot Duckworth. Wow. You're going to do some traveling? That sounds pretty nice to have there. And Rob says, besides, I have been to your place a few times. Oh, they're still having their side conversation. Sorry, folks. Christina says, can someone tell me if squirrels eat bulbs when planted new? I'm finding holes in the flower beds. Squirrels will dig up some flower bulbs, but you might also have voles or moles that are digging them up out of the ground for you as well. But most likely it's squirrels, which is unfortunate. I've heard, citrus pills and Irish Spring soap around and what have you. But honestly, the best thing I've found is to get some coyote urine and mist that around. But then you're not going to have a very nice smelling garden. So, but yeah, the squirrels can be horrendous on flower bulbs. Mitzi says, when you find the elderberry plants, cut some branches and put them in a jar with a bit of water for them to grow the roots and to plant okay. So I had ordered elderberry branches, if you will, stems, when I was back in Colorado. And that's exactly what I did is I just rooted them in some water and some growth hormone and planted them. Unfortunately, I moved before they ever sprouted and I did not bring them with me. I kind of wish I had actually. And Dennis confirms it sounds like squirrels eating your bulbs, Christina. And Larry says, I'm good, just got off work. Well, I hope you had a good day at work, Larry. I hope you didn't work too hard for sure. And Bill is still having his side conversation. I'm going to keep skipping over you too because you're having a side conversation that I'm not part of. Dennis says, or a desperate carpenter. Oh my goodness. Christina, Dennis, I was hoping just buried something. Oh my goodness. Mosquitoes. Bill saying mosquitoes isn't the state bird. They are the state pterodactyl. Be careful. They might carry off your young. Rob is saying, Nomi had liver for dinner. What did you have to offer? I saw Nomi's thumbnail for his video on the liver, and I was like, oh, you're making me hungry. That's just how I was on the last live feed. That's all we talked about was food, it seemed like. And by the time I got off the live feed, I was starving. Oh, my goodness. I don't know about anybody else, but I didn't eat liver growing up. I had never had it, never seen it, anything like that. But when I finally got to have liver and onions, even though I couldn't have the onions part of it, I was like kind of sad that I didn't get to have it growing up because I actually think it's one of the tastiest cuts of meat out there. So I'm a big liver fan. Absolutely love it. Ashley also says mice and moles will for sure eat your flower bulbs. Would think squirrels would too. Yeah, I didn't think about the mice, but that could definitely be part of it too. And Dixie Rex says it could be armadillos. Oh my goodness. Bill is saying anything is better than liver. Bill, maybe you just haven't had the liver fixed the right way. That's all. And Treasure says, I saw Marty Rainey showing the mosquitoes. Dang, these things look like hummingbirds. Oh, they're huge. They're absolutely huge. And back in Colorado, there are these bugs called water bugs, and they look like a mosquito. They have long wings, though, but they have a mosquito-like body. And that's what the mosquitoes actually look like here. They look like water bugs. They're so big. And Linda says, Mangalistas are a 2+ year grow out, but the meat is excellent. A lot for bacon, better and easier to raise kune-kunes. Yeah, and kune-kunes are much smaller pigs as well. I'm not sure what the meat is like on a kune-kune, but the Mangalista meat is very delicious, very tasty, very marbled, reddish in color. It is an excellent pig to raise, and they're cold hardy pigs, which is a nice thing about them. They're actually a breed, I believe, from Hungary. And Mr. the Giant Puppy says, all Alone needs is a viral video. All Alone needs is a viral video idea. All you have to do is climb a tree and build a tree fort with a gun and a skirt 40 feet up, and you will be a YouTube star. Yeah, but then they'll want to see more of that, and I'll have to keep topping it with crazier and crazier ideas every time. I'm not sure I can do it. Larry says he wishes he could come and see me so I could get out of Colorado for a bit. Yeah, I bet Colorado's probably driving you crazy. That's one of the reasons I left. And Shane Ledo says Jim Henson. Not Jim Henson, it's the comedian that does the the hand puppets. Are not hand puppets. Oh my goodness. I can never think of the guy's name. If Dewey was on here, she could tell you guys because she thinks the guy's hilarious. Leanne says eBay has IBC totes for $65. Oh, well, that's good to know. I'll make note of that for sure because I'm definitely going to be needing to get something if and when I get a truck. Dunham, yes, Jeff Dunham, Shane Liddell, that's who it is. Jeff Dunham and Peanut the puppet. And there is Crew Mentions channel link. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate you putting that up there for him. And Mr. Giant Puppy says, the moose have destroyed my trees. This winter they ate and broil all of the willows and their feces is everywhere. They would sleep 20 feet from my back door. They scare me more than bears. Yes, they're so unpredictable. That is for sure. I'm fortunate that I haven't seen hardly any this winter. Like I said, I haven't actually seen any on the property and I've only seen tracks 3 times. But yeah, if they were out there all the time, I think I would be afraid. Hello, CJ. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for being here. And Dave is saying that my Ford is found on road dead. Well, luckily, if I get an older Ford, I should be able to fix it myself. So that's better than having a newer Chevy that I can't fix if something were to go wrong and spending thousands of dollars to have take it to a certified mechanic to have it worked on. So I still want an older vehicle. Ford is my preferred though. Fix or repair daily. Yep. I've heard them all. And Bill is saying, I bought a 2000 F350 7.3 Super Duty this last summer. Making me sit there and dream about Ford trucks. Are you now, Bill? I had an F350 years and years ago, and I absolutely loved that truck. It was like the best vehicle I think I've ever had. Ashley says, I had an old Ford you could literally see through. It even had a Flintstone function. Oh my goodness. Yes, Dogman, I am still live. And it's almost 7 o'clock. And I'm like, I'm sure way behind in these comments. So Ed is saying, is a hippopotamus or just a really cool opopotamus? Oh my goodness. I know I didn't say that right. Because I'm sure it's possum. Oh my goodness. Man, I thought Starlink was going to hang through this whole show. Dennis, you might be like talking me out of Starlink more than into it with all the 20-minute blackout periods you have. And there is Dogman's channel link. Thank you, Rob, for putting that up there. Leanne says, what farm did you use when you bought the half a cow? So I showed it earlier, but it was Hunsgate Farms is who it was. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not. Hunsgate Farms. That's who I used. And I think they're in Wasilla, if I'm not mistaken. And Dennis is back. So a Starlink blackout period didn't last long, it looks like. And Ed says, a classic Mitch Hedberg joke. Mitch Hedberg, he was hilarious. He was absolutely hilarious. And Dogman is saying the Starlink actually rocks. And Rob is saying, waiting to get it in a month or so. Dennis says, I read your hippo joke and can't wait to hear Alone try to pronounce possum. I'm sure that's how you say possum. I know I'm probably not. That's probably not possum. I'm like, I keep looking at it like, oh, topomus. You guys are like, what the heck did she say? What ranch did I use? Let's see, can I type it? Okay, I'm going to type it on the thing here. Huns. I'm typing around my my microphone. It's all the way at the bottom there. You'll have to scroll down. But it's Hunsgate, Hunsgate, Hunsgate Farms. The meat I get at Sam's Club is great. That's good to know. For sure. Like, I think it's hit and miss anymore with meat. It's so scary out there with everything that's going on with our food. And Stuart Hish, thank you for being here tonight. Says, where do you work and at what profession? So right now I'm unemployed. The employer that I was working for previously has closed their doors. And so they let their entire staff go. And I'm an inventory manager by trade. And I have some purchasing background and warehouse management background and things like that. But inventory is really where my specialty is at. So thank you for asking. And I did work remote for the company that I worked for. They were back in Colorado. So, and John says, how much snow you got there, Ed, at your property in Talkeetna? Dogman says, you don't have to wait on Starlink anymore. I need to do a video on that. That's good to know. Because last week, Dennis was saying there were like 20-minute blackout periods. And there is John in Alaska's channel link for everybody. Dennis says, what about the ferry? Can you have your guns on the ferry from Washington? Yes, you can take your firearms and ammo on the ferry. You're only allowed, I believe, 500 rounds. Don't quote me on that, for ammo on the ferry. And you just have to declare your ammo, and you have to declare that you have the firearms. You don't have to declare what firearms you have or anything of that nature, just that you have them. They're going to make sure that they're locked and secured in the back of the vehicle and that they can't be accessed, from the driver's seat or easily. And they're going to mark your vehicle that you have those things on your vehicle so that anybody who's working on the ferry can see that indicator and know that that vehicle has firearms on it. So, but yes, you could definitely take your firearms on the ferry from Washington. And RM says, look out for the berries from Costco too. They taste very abnormal. Ooh, that's not good. Not good, not good. And there is Ed's channel link again. Thank you for doing that, Rob. Billy Bob says, a science teacher tells his class oxygen is a must for breathing and life. It was discovered in 1773. A blonde student responds, thank God I was born after 1773. Otherwise, I would have died without it. Oh my goodness. Dennis, he's talking about the blackouts that you were having. I guess he's no longer experiencing them. At least that's what I believe. He's saying it can be had. No matter where you're at, you can get Starlink, is what he's saying. Misunderstood. My apologies. Rob says, a lot of mead. I can normally make 5-gallon batch from a 3/4 gallon of honey. That is a lot of mead. And Steve says, good one, Billy. My Dixie Rect, what kind of yeast, like a champagne yeast, for your mead there, Rob? John says, someone gave it to me, lol, Alaska's last frontier. Scary plunger stories, John. Scary plunger stories. Dennis says, Starlink is better here in Alaska than tethering on a cell phone. That's my only other option. Yeah, the internet here is tricky for sure. Curmudgeon says, use a glass carboy to do the mead making. 82 in Kansas is what Shane's saying. Christina says, what do you get when you plant a small end of a roll toilet paper, rolls of huge paper towels? Lol, my only joke. I cracked myself up. Oh my goodness. Rob says, sadly, that is where we are at. What we are doing is tethering off a cell phone for his internet signal. That is tough. Dogman says, Starlink, where I'm at, is only fast option. It has changed my life. Yeah, the internet here is incredibly slow. I'm still on DSL, and that connection is many miles away, which means it's even slower where I'm at and completely unreliable. And my Dixie Rex says, how do you cook toilet paper? You brown it on one side and then throw it in the pot. Oh my goodness. Horrible jokes. Dennis says, get Starlink. You'll probably can't live stream on a Starlink yet, but it has been getting better here in Alaska. Well, that's good to know too, because I was wondering about that. If I got it, what would my upload speeds be? And Rob says, you can find some pretty easy mead recipes online. Try a batch or two and then start adding fruit to your mash. Dogman says, we're all spoiled. Doing laundry by hand works. It works fantastic. I love it, love it, love it. And Steve says, I got a woo. Rob is saying, I could be rented as a husband and I can be fed and then sent home at the end of the day. Lol. I'll talk to Sarah about what the contract negotiations are on that one. Oh my goodness. That's too funny, Rob. Dennis says, oh, damn, chimney work. I've been known to kick ladders with suitors upon them. Oh my goodness. Hello, Scott. How are you doing? He says he just joined the chat today. Warm and sunny in Brisbane, Australia. Love your videos and live chats. Thank you very much, Scott. I appreciate that, and I appreciate being here. And Yum says, Bill, you got to feed Rob together. Rob, you got to feed Rob together for him to stop by. Let's see here. Dixie Rex says, I've made wine before, muscadine, sorry, 5 pounds grapes per gallon. No meat, but does he eat liver and onions? Sorry, I'm still reading through some of the side chats here, folks. Sorry about that. Ashley, he cleaned his plate like a good old boy. That must be Rob. He's talking about cleaning his plate. AK Homegrown Root says, I lived here my whole life, and the one thing I am most scared of is a Wolverine. For reals. Lol. I'll run like Forrest Gump other direction. Lol. I don't blame you. They don't mess around. They're not scared of us by any means, or anything else for that matter. Timothy says, I love doing laundry. My dad or my lady friends tell me wash in delicate, but I have ruined a few bras because I dried them as delicate and not drip dry. Oh my goodness. Those can be tricky, Timothy. Those can definitely be tricky. So John is saying, I've got 6 years in the U.S. Navy. I can go along with you, Ed, and alone. Pretty please. Let's just make it a party. All of you guys, let's go. Take the boat out. I'll be safe. I'll be the safest person on the ocean. Ed agrees. Liver and onions is the best. It's the tastiest dinner I can think of. Dennis says, a long time ago, I got suspended from school for my science fair project. I distilled grain alcohol in class with instructions from the Foxfire books in the library. Oh my goodness. And now just think about what's in the library these days. You might actually be the mad chemist there, Dennis. Happy Chappy, how are you doing tonight? It says, hello, it says, alone, I only have a few minutes, but hi, miss you. When is the next Saturday Night Live your time? I haven't scheduled it yet. I will see if I can get one scheduled for this week, Happy Chappy, if you're still watching. And if not, then I will let you know for sure. But maybe this Saturday, I got to look and see what's going on. But yeah, hopefully this Saturday, I'll get one up for you. That's for everybody who's overseas or anybody who wants to join. Ashley says, Curmudge, I was at work and haven't had the chances to watch yet. Marla, hello, how are you doing tonight? Says, your response about the laundry was spot on. I loved it. Doing laundry that way and hand washing dishes can be very zen and help resolve questions with a kind of free association thinking. I agree. Absolutely. I know some people, I have a friend that loves to play video games and I'm not much of a game player. And so I asked him, what is the point of playing video games the way you do? And they said, it's just mindless. It just allows my mind to free itself of all the things that I dealt with at work during the day. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. I can understand that. That's how I look at doing laundry or dishes. It's just my brain's free to clear up any clutter that's in there while I'm doing those things. And I'm still getting something accomplished. CJ says, my discly wrecked. Where did you get the muscadine from? Then it says, if you're not familiar with the Foxfire books, you should Google them. They're great. I will have to do that because I'm not sure I'm familiar with them myself. Rob saying to Ed, yes, it is. Cars had had one on sale the other day for the liver and the onions. The liver, that is, he's talking about. Sarah says, when I became a widow, I started to think about a relationship. I had 3 critter choice. That's this guy. This guy's my companion for life here. And Leanne says, just a lot of fishing. We can take you out. We usually trailer it up to Whittier or Seward. Nice. Nice. That's the thing. I would love to go deep sea fishing, but again, I might have to take a sedative, half a sedative, so I'm just a little bit calm before going out on the boat. Steve says, same happened to me. I had a mini still when I was 10, took it to school and got spanked. Oh my goodness. Such stories. CJ found them wild and also know a guy who grows them. Dennis says, well, I didn't call mine a still, too obvious. It's a fermentation distillation processor. Ira says, I once heard that sprinkling hot cayenne peppers on your lettuce plants would keep rabbits away. Next morning, I found the rabbit eating my lettuce, thanking me for adding some spice to his food. Oh my goodness, that's too funny. And CJ saying, we grow in Tennessee, not many people are aware of them. I got lost in your conversation there, CJ and Dixie Wrecked. I can't remember what you guys were chatting about. Two Bears says, to answer Alone's ladder and chimney question, I've designed and built a still ladder, bolted to her roof, and have a safe platform around the chimney and clean the chimney when needed. That would be fantastic. That would help a lot. Right now, I can't get on the roof even if I wanted to because the ladder's still buried in 3 feet of snow in the back of the property. So just being very cautious in using the chimney at the moment. Rob is saying, Sarah, she had an issue with her phone. When I first became a widow, I had 3 criteria for a potential relationship. Oh, 3 criteria. Okay, that I got to hear. Must be strong and healthy and be a good cook and have a truck. I ended up in Wasilla with Rob. Wise choice. I agree. That was a good choice, Sarah. Good choice. And he can cook. So you really did really well there on your second criteria because, yeah, you got a good looking guy. He's healthy. He can cook and he has a truck and you get to live in Alaska. You did good. Then it says, oh, I thought you were calling potential suitors critters. That's what I thought it said. Oh my goodness. And there's Nomi's channel link. Oh goodness. Bill says Kune is part of a breed known as the Idaho pasture pigs. I have never heard that before. That's interesting. Ed says, I got 18 inches of snow in the past week. It didn't add too much to the snowpack, but snowdrifts are crazy now. Yes, I would believe it, especially up high where you're at. And Rob is saying, asking Ed, did you have the wind the past few days that he did? And I'm afraid to know what Steve is getting there. Yeah. Oh, that's the yeah. Yeah, okay, I get it now. Peanut. Hello, James. How are you doing tonight? Thanks for joining us. And Happy Chappy says, back to work. Bye, lovely lady, and keep safe. Bye, Happy Chappy. Thank you for joining tonight. Hopefully I answered your question while you were still on. And I will get that live scheduled for you. I promise. I know you are really looking forward to the Saturday Night Live. So I'll get back to them. And Scott says, question to the viewers, has anyone been to Rough Woods Inn and Microbrewery, Nenana, wondering if anyone has stayed there? And Alaska Homegrown says she loves Fords. Well, at least I've got one person who's on my side with the Fords. Ed says, not much wind. Highest winds in the last few days was around 15 miles per hour. That still can be quite high, though. Not as high as we've seen for sure, but 15 does make it quite gusty. And hello, Not So Remote, Alaska. How are you doing tonight? Don't listen to the naysayers. Ford is the working man's and woman's truck. I agree. I love Fords. It's what I grew up with. And Rob says, love my Ford F-150 4x4. Yep, that's how I feel. The first vehicle I ever drove actually was a Ford F-150. It was my dad's 1970 or something. I don't know what year it was, but it was a fantastic truck. Absolutely loved that truck. Little bench seat, racing stripe down the side, dual exhaust. The thing was fantastic. So I think that won me over from the start. And Rob is saying, we had a number, if much higher from time to time, a few trees dropped. Must be from the wind. Luckily, I haven't had any trees drop this year on the property from the wind here. So Steve says, buy a cow and get a mug, right? That was the deal. That was what sunk me into buying the cow was, I get a free mug if I buy half a cow. No, just kidding. That wasn't the deal. But that would be funny if that was what brought people in. Jay Delaney says, when we get married, do you want to go someplace warm on our honeymoon? Oh, Jay, I think you just ruined it. You just ruined it. I like the cold. I want to stay in Alaska. Oh, goodness. There you go, Aunt. There you go, Leanne. Huns Gates Farm. Sorry about that. I'm glad you got it, though. Opotamus. Opotamus. I'm going to look it up now because I'm sure no, I'm not sure. I feel like a dork because I'm like, wait, does that say possum? I don't think it says possum. And there is the link to the Hunsgate Farms website. Thank you for putting that up there, Bill. And Shane Ladow says, Charles M. Schultz. Yeah, Charlie Brown. This is Snoopy back here. Steve says, multitasking. Is that you or me? And Brenda says, the right job will come along. Yep, all in due time. I am not worried about it at all. Not one bit. Rob says, snow is still coming down pretty heavy here. I'm going to have to ride the trail to make sure it is clear soon. Yeah, luckily I'm not having to do a snow machine to get off the property, but I feel for you, Rob, and I feel for Ed having to, wait for the clouds to clear to get off the property as well. My Dixie Rex says, what do you do when you cross an elephant and a rhinoceros? Or what do you get when you cross an elephant and a rhinoceros? An elefrino? Oh, goodness. Ed says, rumor is we're getting between 2 to 10 inches of snow through tomorrow. Yikes, you guys are going to get hit hard. Bill saying, marking the vehicles with firearms makes it easier for a thief. This is true too. But the only thing is when you're on the ferry, you only have 15 minutes to go down to your car 4 times a day, and everybody's down there at the same time. So a thief would have a hard time getting to your vehicle because you can't really get into your vehicle very easily, and you're at your vehicle at that same point. Otherwise, nobody can be down on the car deck. So then it says, dang, Jay Delaney, ain't you putting the cart before the moose? I don't recall you listing your credentials. Like, what sort of recreational things and home skills do you have? Oh my goodness. Now my suitors are interviewing other suitors. Steve telling me lol is not a word. Okay, laughing out loud. Lol. Loud. Then it says, on the ferry, you have to put up a sign and let everyone know which vehicle has the valuable guns in it. I didn't know if I don't know if I like that. Well, you don't have to say what guns you have. You just have to declare them. Though I know there was a vehicle next to me that had guns, and they said, I'm not declaring them. I'm not telling anybody I got these. But they told me, which I thought was very daring of them to do. Good night, Mitzi. Thank you for the well wishes of staying safe. I hope you do the same. And please take care and keep a smile on, please, please. J. Delaney says, sorry, I don't answer to you. Oh, my goodness. Oh, too many suitors. Norm says, things are never so bad that they can't get worse. Always remember where your lifeboat is. This is true. You got to have a way out. Always have a backup plan. That's my thing. Backups for backups. Mr. the Giant Puppy says, alone be aware all these suitors critters may be excellent workers, but at the end of the day, they will shove their dirty socks under your sofa. Make good choices. Oh my goodness. And Steve is saying the Foxfire books are the best. Rob says, I have a number of those Foxfire books himself. Wait, that isn't Saturday Night Live. Steve is saying, or wait, what? This isn't Saturday Night Live? Nope, sorry. This isn't Saturday Night Live. That's not for another few days still. My Dixie Rex says, I knew a guy who almost blew up the chemistry lab trying to make Greek fire. I don't know what Greek fire is. I'm going to have to look that up now. Rob is saying to Mr. the Giant Puppy, that's why Sarah is renting me out. I go home and put socks under my own sofa. Lol. Oh my goodness. Leanne says, I'll send you some halibut and rockfish. Oh, that would be awesome. Thank you. I would actually love some rockfish. So I got a piece of halibut from one of my neighbors, and I had made blackened fish tacos out of the halibut, but doing it with some rockfish would be very, very appreciated. I would very much love that. You just got to tell me when it's arriving so I go to the post office and it doesn't sit there for 2 weeks at the post office. I don't think they would appreciate that very much. Then it says, I think they're free PDF downloads from somewhere on the internet. Very interesting. I'm going to look them up now, these Firefox books. Two Bear says, Giant Puppy, that's too funny, but my dirty socks are never hidden like that. I take care of them. Oh my goodness. Hello, Melissa. How are you doing? She says, I was wondering when you are going to start canning. Will you grow your own things or stock up from the store? How will you keep jars from freezing in the really cold temps? So I'm not really sure how I'm going to keep the jars from freezing in the cellar. I'm going to be doing some additional insulation in the cellar. For one thing, I will be canning here as soon as it warms up enough to be outside using the propane cooker so I can can. And yes, I'm going to be growing a nice, healthy, and hardy garden in the back of the property. But for the meantime, I might still have to supplement some from the grocery store. But garden is definitely going in this summer. So thank you. Those are great questions, Melissa. Thank you. And good night. Our cabin has wood, or our cabin in the woods. Have a good evening. And thank you for being here tonight. Two Bear says, ooh, and I can cook. Sweetening the pot there. Timothy says, I cook Italian food and can do laundry. You guys are just keep feeding the interest here. Just keep telling me what all your skills and interests are. Melissa says, any plans for adding farm animals to your place? No immediate plans. I was saying earlier that if I did add any, I would probably do ducks and pigs and maybe goats. But at this moment, there's no immediate plans. Not until I get the back of the property fenced in and electrified so I can hopefully keep bears and moose out of the back of the property. James, thank you for being here tonight. He says, I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you? I am doing well also. Thank you very much. And AK Homegrown Root says, Ford Tough. They haul my trailers and moose meat. That's good. That's what they're there for, right? That's why I want the Ford, is so that if I can get on the roadkill, I can get a moose in the freezer. Steve says, I think you better get off. You're getting a little punchy. Yeah, it's way past my sign-off time for sure. So with about 6 minutes left to the half of the hour, I am going to start calling it here tonight. And I do want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. And thank you guys for always being so funny and so kind and having great questions and everything in the chat. I really appreciate all of you. And I want to thank each and every one of you, not only for joining me tonight, but for watching my videos as well. And again, thanking our Bucket Has Holes for joining the membership page of my channel tonight. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to start signing off. And again, thank you, everybody. And I want to say a special thank you to my moderators, such as Rob over at the Curmudgeon Inn, as well as Bill over at Alaska's Last Frontier Homestead. Thank you both for moderating. I really appreciate you guys. And be sure to check out their channels if you haven't already. They have some great content on there as well. So again, thank you, Our Cabin in the Woods. Thank you, Jay Delaney, for making me smile and blush. As always, I appreciate it. And same with you, Dennis. You're always a charming gentleman to have and keeping my cheeks nice and rosy colored. Oh my goodness. John in Alaska, you're right there with them. So thank you very much. And I appreciate you being here. I'm sure I'll talk to you soon. And Ed, thank you for joining us tonight, even if it was a little bit late. Appreciate you being here and always appreciate your sense of humor and keeping me challenged on those words. I'm gonna have to brush up on my pronunciations. And Rosalind Bowser, thank you for joining here tonight, even if I am just now signing off. I appreciate you being here. She is saying you could start your own consulting business helping people moving and settling in Alaska. There's an idea. I might have to look into that one. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. the Giant Puppy. I appreciate you as always. And I will tell Dewey that she is missed. And I thank you for saying I'm adorable and that you love the channel. I appreciate it. And please, everyone, be sure to check out Mr. the Giant Puppy's channel as well. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Clint. Have a good night and stay safe and with all that snow you got on the ground there in East Texas. And Two Bears, thank you very much as always. I know that you're a great asset no matter where you're at. And someday you'll make it to Alaska. I just know it. And Billy Bob, thank you for being here tonight. He says, ask any Okan, make the dead walk again. Ask any Okan, make the dead walk again. I have your suitors if they, I'm not sure where you're going with that one, Billy Bob. Goodness. James says he can cook, clean, and butcher beef and hogs and deer. Oh my goodness. And be sure, everyone, to check out Steve's live stream, also happening on Saturdays. And I, again, want to thank everyone. Good night, Ashley. Good night, Our Bucket List. Good night, Clint. Good night, RM. Thank you for joining. Good night, Billy Bob. And good night, Steve and Leanne. Of course, thank you all for joining. Dennis and Not So Remote. I appreciate each and every one of you, including Linda. And thank you for joining. AFJ Third. Thank you for being here, even if I just only now saw your name pop up in the chat. I appreciate being here, Norm. And Big T, can't forget you. I enjoyed having you here as part of the live chat tonight as well. And Christina, have a good evening. And 1968 Alaskan Sourdough, thank you, everyone. He has a new video out as well. Please be sure to check out his video and everything he's had going on in his last couple of days. Some interesting things happened on his property in the last couple of days. I feel for you. I really do. And Rob, again, thank you. Good night, Ashley. Appreciate it. Good night, Seashell. And good night, Jill. Thank you very much for being here. And AK Homegrown Roots, thank you for not only being here and participating in the comments as well. I really appreciate that. Good night, RM. And good night, Debbie. Have a good night. And good night, Chip. Thank you for being here. I miss seeing you in the comments, but I'm glad you're here nonetheless. And Jay Delaney. Good night, John Boy. Good night, Gracie. Good night, James. Thank you again. And good night, Rosemary. Good night, everyone. Thank you. What is Dewey's channel? Dewey doesn't have a channel. And yep, go check out John's community page, everyone. Good night, everyone. Thank you.